Arizona has been looking for a few good men, and oh, did they hit the lottery. Tailback Antoine Carter is already serving notice that ground forces can and will exact a heavy toll. Joining him on the front line, Billy Johnson, a fullback with a penchant for infiltrating hostile environments. Talented Chuck Levy completes the triad that will soon be labeled Desert Swarm. You are looking live at Arizona Stadium in Tucson, Arizona. Prime Network presents the Pac-10 Game of the Week. Today, the Arizona State Wildcats host the Cougars of Washington State. Hi, everybody. I'm Phil Stone. Well, both the University of Arizona and Washington State want desperately to prove to the Pac-10 elite that they belong amongst the best of the best. Arizona has been close twice in the last 4 years, but you get the feeling that Washington State is quite frankly fed up with middle-of-the-pack finishes. Working with me throughout our Pac-10 season here on Prime Network is the former Oregon Duck and all-pro tight end Russ Francis. And Russ, whenever the Cougars and the University of Arizona get together, you just get the feeling that they wear out scoreboard operators.
Well, we're expecting a lot of points here today, Phil. And although they say that these teams need a win because it's a conference game, that belies the significance that these teams are so closely matched. Contraring styles, run and pass, but nonetheless closely matched.
That's a good point, Russ. When you talk about contrasting styles, Washington State firmly believes that when you establish your air superiority, you simply demoralize opposing defenses.
Exactly, and with Washington State last week, 425 yards in the air. However, the turnovers, 7 turnovers, 4 interceptions, 3 fumbles.
There's no doubt. When you play the style of offense Washington State plays, it is high risk. On the other side, Arizona, Russ, they love life in the trenches.
Well, this is the contrast we're talking about. 222 yards on the ground. They forced 6 turnovers, 4 interceptions, and 2 fumbles.
We are going to have the opportunity today to see one of the very best quarterbacks in all of college football. Washington State gunslinger, fellow by the name of Drew Bledsoe. What a tremendous talent.
Well, Phil, people are saying this guy is going to be drafted the #1 player in the NFL draft next year, ahead of time before his senior year. He can do it all. Big, strong. He's got really good touch on the ball. They will be counting on him a lot today.
In just one game alone last week, their season opener against Montana, Bledsoe set 4 Cougar records. On the other side, Arizona's George Malauulu, Russ, is more of a supporting actor than a marquee player.
Well, at Arizona Field, they rely on all their players. They've got such great guys in the backfield. This man here, George Malauulu, he directs the offense.
One thing about today's game, talent will certainly play a part, but the heat is going to play a big part, too. The third man on our telecast team, former All-Pro defensive back Mike Tame. Let's go down on the field. Boy, Mike, sure looks like a day at the beach, my friend.
A day at the beach. Phil, it is hot down here. You know, when I played football for the Raiders and we were wearing our black jerseys, our trainers were concerned about dehydration when the temperature was in the 70s. Down here today, temperatures are going to be in excess of 100 degrees. Trainers for both teams will be working very hard to keep their players cool and to make sure they have plenty of water. Now, as it was explained to me earlier this week, a body without water is like an engine without oil. So it'll run fine for a little while, but just a matter of time before the body starts to fatigue and the muscles start to cramp up. So we'll keep our eyes on that. It is not like a day at the beach. It is smoking hot down here.
Smoking hot indeed. The temperature is above 100 degrees. This won't have any effect on this game, will it?
Well, I'll tell you, it's hot, though, but, you know, you prepare for the heat, and then you forget about it. You go on the field, you take on as much water as you can, but you forget about it. As they like to say here in Arizona, don't worry about it. It's just a dry heat.
Yeah, a dry heat, a dry 115 degrees on the field. Well, the teams are coming out. The Cougars of Washington State and the Wildcats of Arizona are next. The Pac-10 Game of the Week is brought to you by Lexus Luxury Automobiles, the result of a relentless pursuit of perfection. By Diet Pepsi with 100% You got the right one, baby, By Great Western family of companies, $38 billion strong. Great Western will always be there. By new Coors Dry, it's double chill for a finish as clean as ice. Try Coors Dry and feel the chill. And by your Southern California Chevrolet and Geo dealers. Cumulonimbus clouds over Arizona Stadium. We are at Tucson, home of the Wildcats, and we are set to go. University of Arizona and the Cougars of Washington State, a series that dates back to 1963. Arizona has won 3 of the last 4. A year ago in Pullman, Washington State scored 15 points in the last couple of minutes to win it. There is Dick Tame, one of the 2 gentlemen in all of college football, visiting with us for the better part of an hour late yesterday afternoon. And across the field, there's Mike Price, tremendous offensive innovator. And boy, does he have a quarterback at the controls. Drew Bledsoe. Washington State is going to kick it away. They won the toss, and they will kick it to Chuck Levy and Lamar Lovett. What a return man. He is one of the best all-purpose runners in all of college football. And to kick it away for Washington State, the son of Mike Price, Aaron Price. Let's go! Today's kickoff is brought to you by Cougars. The junior from Pullman lets it sail. Levy on a couple of hops, can't come up with it. Now falls on the football. Great pursuit by Washington State. Levy grabbed it, and Anthony Rice knocked him off his peg. So they'll begin from the 15-yard line, and here comes George Malaulu, a senior from Carson, California. 2 years ago, he was terrific against Washington State. The backfield, we will be watching Antoine Carter. Ran for over 100 yards last week and 3 touchdowns. The offensive line is keyed by one of the all-name team members, Mu Tungawaki, at center. Arizona primarily runs the football. That is indeed an understatement. Out of the eye. Malaulu barks signals the tailback. Across the 20-yard line is Antoine Carter, a sophomore from Pacoima, and he is blasted by Anthony McClanahan. Washington State defensively plays the 4-3 alignment. It is a very young, relatively inexperienced defensive line. One of their strengths on defense is unquestionably the linebacking core, and it's led by the senior strong side linebacker, Kurt Wercher. And the defensive secondary we will be watching, very susceptible to play action. John Rushing is a guy who we expect to be right up on the line all day long. He's a Virginia free safety. Malaulu, the left-hander, looks now, ducks it away, sits up at the line of scrimmage and caught from behind. Dwayne Patterson, a sophomore, weak end out of Oakland, brought him down. Malaulu, 6 of 15 last week, threw for a pair of touchdowns. Malaulu really has never had a chance to get on track as an Arizona quarterback. 2 years ago, he was in the duel with Ron Deal last year he was hurt. Chuck Levy quarterback the last 4 games for Arizona, again from the eye. It is Antoine Carter as he tries to turn the corner at the 24, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and again it is the middle linebacker, Anthony McClanahan, who knocked him down. McClanahan, if that last name rings a bell, he is the son of former ASU and Minnesota Viking running back Brent McClanahan.
Well, this is a guy, Phil, that they count on, Andy McClanahan, to make their tackles. The defensive line tries to shield him, keep the blockers off, as we wait for the call from the officials.
A flag down on the far side of the field at the 25. Let's listen.
Dead ball, personal foul, offense, 4th down.
Lost it down. Chuck McFerrin is the referee in today's Tucson officiating crew. That certainly does not make Dick Tame happy at all. Tame, a graduate of DePaul, 31-24-3 record in 6 years at Arizona. He's from Hawaii after bringing Hawaii from a Division II school into Division I. And boy, Rainbows playing great football over the last couple of years. Josh Miller is going to let it sail. Last week, Miller with a 42-yard average from his own end zone. Philip Bobo at the 47. Great field position for the Cougars early on, and this is exactly what the Wildcats wanted to avoid. And here comes Drew Bledsoe, all-world quarterback. 6'5", 227 pounds, set 4 records a week ago, attempts, completions, yardage, and total plays. And what a host of skilled players he has at his disposal. In the offensive line, Bob Garman and Jim Eicher are the guys who will keep. The question is, will he have time to unload? Arizona plays a very aggressive form of defense. In motion, it is Bobo. They'll go to the short side of the field. Sunday right there. And it is Arizona who is right there. Arizona's defense, they play the 3-4, and one of the men who plays on that defensive line is Ty Parton. Both he and Rob Waltrip are finally healthy here in 92. A good linebacking core. The outside guys, Richard Maddock and Jamal Lee. And the defensive backfield, Mike Sherlock and Tony Bowie. Bowie a year ago led this team in tackles. Second down and a long 9. The only setback was Sunday right there. Against his Bobo in motion coming at you. Bledsoe, quick out. It is caught. Darren Pointer, nephew of the Pointer sisters, is hit immediately by Keyshawn Johnson. No question. Keyshawn Johnson, Russ, is Arizona's best man-to-man cover man.
Well, he said before the game, he said, bring it on. He says, I'm ready for this Washington State passing attack. What Washington State is doing early in the game, although they started out with the run, establish the passing game, get a tempo going, take it on through the first quarter.
Wide receivers all over the place for the Cougars. Bledsoe caught by the tight end Clarence Williams. A flag is down at the 25-yard line. Thrown in the vicinity of Keyshawn Johnson. And tell you what, that may be offensive pass interference. On the receiving end, the tight end Clarence Williams, also is called Butch Williams, out of Renton High School in Seattle. Now again, let's listen to Chuck McFerrin as he tries to sort it out.
Holding on a forward pass beyond the line by the defense. 3 yards on that first down.
Now Keyshawn was the guilty party as he grabbed Philip Bobo on the way by and held him. But 2 critical penalties for Arizona here in the span of less than 60 seconds.
Well, I think you're going to find a little bit of that early in the game, especially so Arizona is really concerned about the Washington State pass offense. They're going to do everything they can to slow down those receivers.
Right there is the lone setback behind Bledsoe from the 29-yard line, 1st and 10. It is right there. Sean Harris, middle linebacker, brought him down. Boy, what a busy man Shambe was a week ago against Montana. Look at that. 30 carries for 111 yards. Guarantee it. But the weather in Pullman a week ago was what it is today. They had to carry him off after 30 carries.
Something else in the last play, too, so you like to see your teammates. Philip Bobo was downfield blocking for that run by right there.
Darren Pointer slid wide to the right. T.J. Davis and Philip Bobo both in the slot to the wide side of the field. Bledsoe will flare it out. He is caught by Pointer, and he is hit immediately at the 20-yard line. Keyshawn Johnson, the senior corner from Fresno City, California, on the tackle.
Well, Keyshawn's going to have a lot of practice today. You see the bump there at the corner. As Pointer goes up with the pass, they're playing off the receivers a little bit still, trying to give them a little bit of room, but not too much room.
That's a good point, Russ. I think one of the big keys for Washington State early is can their wide receivers and their flankers C.J. Davis and Calvin Scheckschneider beat Arizona's quarters and beat them consistently today. In motion, that is C.J. Davis going away from you. First down, Cougars. Bledsoe throws to the flats, and he overthrows and out of bounds. Darren Pointer was the intended receiver. Keyshawn Johnson had help from Brandon Sanders as they were all over Pointer. Great pressure on Bledsoe by Sean Harris.
This is something else we're going to see all day long. Sean Harris, he just about takes Drew's head off here, but he's all over the field, not only against the run, but he's going to be busy with the pass today.
That man right there a year ago had a knee against Ohio State in Arizona's season opener, missed 7 games, never really returned to form, but he has tremendous skills and, according to Dick Tame, unlimited potential. Second down and 10 from just outside the 19-yard line. Washington State moving on their first possession. Long snap count. Bledsoe on the draw. Right there. Things his way. He's to the 10 and meets head on there. Tony Bowie. He gets past Bowie, and it's Washington State 6-0.
This is one thing that Washington State is going to do all day long as well, is spread out that defense. They had a slot to the left, right there here. Once he gets past the initial line, there are no defenders, no defensive backs, because they're out in coverage.
3rd down and 1. The ball nosing the 10-yard line. They're calling it a long one or a short 2. Right there. He's got daylight to the 4-yard line, and Washington State will have it 1st and goal inside the 5. Jim Hoffman, a sophomore defensive tackle, made the tackle on right there. Now, the rap on Chambe, Russ, is that with all of his skills, a little hesitant getting to the hole and getting through it.
Might be hesitant, too. I mean, heck, those guys are big up front there. They're going to run over you, try and bite you, kick you, spit on you. I mean, I would take my time getting in line, but a lot of guys like Chambe will take some time to read their block.
Offensive line winning this first battle in the trenches. Right there, misdirection. Puts his head down and dives into the 2.
Well, this is something that they're going to keep doing as long as Arizona gives them the room up the middle there. They've got some big guys up there. Gunning, Kovac, and Garmin. Garmin, 6'4", 292, went right over his spot. They're knocking the defensive line of Arizona back. They'll continue to do that as long as they have success at it.
Dick Tomey's Wildcats a week ago in their season-opening victory forced 6 turnovers. 4 would they like to get one right here. 8:38 to play in the first quarter. Bledsoe straight ahead on the sneak, and he'll get it close, and is stopped short of the goal line. Great surge by free safety Tony Brewer.
You know, you talk about so many things that Drew Bledsoe can do. He broke 4 school records and 1 Pac-10 record last week. Now he's going for scoring record, rushing scoring record. I know there's not much yardage there between the ball and the goal line, but Drew's going after it.
Now Bledsoe, the latest in a line of gunslinging Cougar quarterbacks. Remember Jack Thompson, Mark Rippon, and most recently Tim Rosenbaum. Trip wide receivers to the near side. 3rd and goal. They'll clear it out, and it's intercepted. Right Sailor.
And this is something that Arizona did against Utah all game long. You see Darrell Morrison, number 27 cornerback, just stepped right in front of the receiver. Washington State is lucky that he didn't have room to run here. As Wright Fair comes up to make the tackle, he would have been gone, gone, gone.
Well, I just had mentioned Arizona trying to force a turnover. They forced 6 last week, and they got number 1 here in the shadow of their own end zone. Darrell Morrison, the man who picked it off, didn't play last week. He was sitting out a 1-game suspension. And what you mentioned, had he had room to run it, it would have been touchdown. And he had room to run it last year, late in the season against Southern California, when Morrison picked one off and ran it in.
Now, on the last call on the pop, Tony has to come down because it's in the inside back, okay? Good job. I thought you tried to call timeout. It wasn't there just right.
There's just some great audio as you heard the defensive brain trust out of the eye. Mala'ulu looking near side, hit as he delivers and overthrows his receiver. Pass intended for Roderick Lewis, the tight end out of Dallas, Texas. Went to Bishop Dunn High School in Dallas.
Well, Mala'ulu also paid the price on that. And Vince Saldivar just came in and racked it just as the ball was being let go. But he can't throw the ball. You see here, he had a good completion percentage last year and only 5 interceptions.
Third down and 8. The ball at the 7-yard line. Again, the Wildcats come from the eye. Chuck Levy playing with a very sore knee. Moves it out to the 9-yard line. He'll be short of the first down. Kurt Wircher moved up to knock Levy off his feet. So Arizona, after intercepting in the end zone, is going to have to punt it away from their own 9-yard line. Josh Miller has come on to punt it away for the second time early in this ball game. 200-pound senior. From the snap of Chad Ross, and it is Philip Bobo. Had a pair of returns last week. 38 career returns. Oh, he was lucky to get it off, and Bobo's going to watch it go over his head. They'll take it out of bounds at the 27-yard line. What a punt.
What a fantastic kick by Miller. He was pressured here, got it off for 63 yards.
There's a flag down. Arizona said it's going to be against Washington State.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised about that, Bill, because normally in that situation, you've got offensive, when the punter takes so much time to kick it, offensive lineman downfield, but this is not what happened. Washington State got the penalty.
Well, it was 4th and 6 way back at the 10-yard line.
Dead ball. Personal foul on the kick return team.
That'll turn Miller's 63-yard punt, in reality, into a 78-yard punt.
That's eating up a lot of field, and that's what you need. They've been stuck back inside their own 10, 15-yard line. This part of the first quarter is only 6:24 left to go. Now they've got great field possession, great momentum. Hey, man, big boom,
What a punt. Well, you want to know how special teams can help your offense?
That's why they call them special.
As well as your defense. Washington State will begin now from their own 13-yard line. 1st and 10 Cougars. Well, this Cougar offense in 1992.
Dead ball foul. Set the team.
Now, they haven't got the chain game set up, I think is the call. Now they've got it set. It is 1st down and 20 at their own 13-yard line.
So you talked before game and during the game about big plays. Miller's punt there is a big, big play for Arizona. They have to take advantage of this. They have to score. They backed it up there. I mean, Washington State backing them up. It's a big play. They've got to go 85 yards for the score.
That is right there. As he picks his way across the 19 meters at one side partner with help from Sean Harris on the tackle. Washington State's running backs and wide receivers are wearing special jerseys today. They've been altered. They're more like a practice jersey that they've had painted and stenciled to resemble game jerseys. They're very light. You can see they're more like a vest jersey. 100 degrees at game time on the field. If you just joined us, it is well over 110. Bledsoe looking to the short side. The pass was intended for C.J. Davis. The flanker, he couldn't get to it. Pressure on Bledsoe applied by Sean Harris and Jim Hoffman.
Well, that's what Arizona's going to have to do is get pressure on the quarterback. Bledsoe on that play, a long count at the line of scrimmage, trying to keep the defense off the balls with their feet, trying to keep them back on their heels. Jim Hoffman just about got to him before the ball got off. Bledsoe had to rush it incomplete.
Darren Pointer is split to the bottom of your screen on 3rd down and 17. Bledsoe overthrows Pointer, who was wide open. Pointer turned Sean Johnson around like he was on a carousel. I think Sean Johnson not only did a 360, he might have done a 720. So Bledsoe is 0 for his last 4 passes, and on to punt it away is Steve Johnson. Arizona blocked 7 punts or place kicks last year. You look over the last 9 seasons, the Wildcats have blocked 43 kicks on Harry Vaughn. Coming to the near side, Vaughn has it at the 39. Spins, still on his feet. Vaughn ran about 40 yards, actually picked up about 4. 41-yard punt. Clock is stopped with 5:22 to play, and the opening period from Arizona Stadium. 5:22 2:22 to play in the opening period. Washington State nothing, Arizona nothing. The Cougars had the ball inside the Wildcat 10, and Bledsoe threw an interception into the hands of Morrison. And that's as close as anybody has got. There's Dick Tame. 6th year here at Arizona. Look at his record as a head coach. 94 victories. And there's Mike Sherlock. We heard Mike Stevens at the outset of the game talking about how important it would be to keep players cool, to keep them hydrated. Mala'ulu on first down, swings it to the near side, and it's knocked at the line of scrimmage. Hit by Dwayne Patterson. Patterson, a 6'1" sophomore from Oakland. A week ago, this defense against Montana threw the ball rough 60 times. And this Cougar defense was only able to get to the quarterback once. I think that's something that Mike Price is really going to want to work on as this season progresses, including their defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer. They need to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks.
Well, it's true that they only got to him once, Phil, but they were in a shotgun formation the majority of the time, and according to folks we've talked to, they rushed the quarterback about 50 out of the 60 times, so they got some pressure, but they're going to need to get more on George Mala'ulu.
Offense. Recruit first down.
Third penalty against Arizona in this game, and we still have 5:17 to play on the first quarter. Now watch right here. Now, that was probably the penalty.
Oh, no.
Looks like it might have been called. Sure.
I'm not sure. The linebacker grabbed him by the helmet.
Carter tried to go inside the tackle, bounced to the outside, and was grabbed by Senior Mobley. Mobley, one of 6 Washington State Cougars out of Tacoma Curtis High School in Tacoma. I tell you what, that high school is a pipeline to Washington State.
One thing you have to do as a running back, Phil, is you've got to, once you stretch that out past the tackle and you're off on the sweep, you've got to get the ball upfield. You can't just keep heading towards the sideline.
4:44, clock running, first quarter. Arizona with the ball at their own 29. Mala'ulu looking to the wide side. He's going to air it out, looking for Levy. And it is almost intercepted by Torrey Hunter. I talked a few moments ago. Torrey Hunter unquestionably the Cougars' best cover man.
Well, Mala'ulu showing a strong arm there, leading, getting downfield. It looks like at the end of the route, he was slowing down, trying to adjust the route, trying to get his eye on the ball, and the ball was overthrown, perhaps because of that.
Well, Mala'ulu showing that he can, in fact, air it out. But great coverage on Levy by Torrey Hunter. Bledsoe is misconnected on his last 4 passes. There's the draw. Carter hit behind the line of scrimmage and dropped. Well, what a great job by the weak outside linebacker, Ron Childs, a sophomore from Kennewick, Washington.
Good timing, too, Phil, because Childs and McClanahan both on the blitz. Timed it just perfect, just about the snap. No time for the offensive line or the running back to pick up the blitz.
So here is Josh Miller. He's going to kick it away. His last attempt, 63 yards over the head of Philip Bobo. Bobo now with 39 career returns for over 300 yards. Good snap. Miller, boy, again he booms it. Bobo at the 31, coming to the wide side. And there are navy blue jerseys all over him. Hit and dropped by Mike Sherlock. Tremendous speed on the part of the strong safety. Clock is stopped with 3:47 to play on the opening quarter. We are scoreless from the desert.
You know there's real magic in Diet Pepsi.
Washington State appears to have lost one of its premier linemen. Let's go down to Mike Haynes. Mike?
That's right, Phil. Bob Garmer, the offensive guard, number 74 here. He's a top prospect, pro prospect on the offensive line. He's a preseason All-American, a 3-year letterman, and he is definitely going to be missed. He'll be replaced by Quinn Magnuson, who had been playing guard before, but because he was not able to play in spring drills, Bob Garman was the starting offensive guard.
There's no question Garman has been one of the premier offensive linemen in all of college football. He's out with a neck injury. We don't know for how long. Bledsoe at time, out to the far side. It is caught. Oh, what touch. Philip Bobo takes it out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Boy, Drew Bledsoe, perfect trajectory.
He just got a pass Keyshawn Johnson, who was there, probably thought that he had Bobo covered. Bledsoe just, as they say, shredding it. Good pressure on the defensive line, but look at Bobo as he cuts out here right over Johnson. Excuse me, make that Brandon Sanders 2-8, gets juiced up there, didn't see the one.
Second down and 3 from the 45. The lone tailback is Shumday right there. 3 wide receivers for Washington State. In the slot is Bobo. Bledsoe mishandles the snap. And falling on top of was Richard Maddox. Bledsoe recovering the muff snap. It'll be third down now and push it back a yard to the 44.
You know what happens there, Phil, is that Bledsoe made an audible at the line of scrimmage, and what happens typically is that when an audible is made, the snap count is changed. They want to make sure that every time they call an audible, that the snap count is the same. So he made a call in the huddle at 2. It may have been one on the line. The center and quarterback exchange messed up because of it.
Bledsoe right over the top it goes, and it's caught by Clarence Williams at tight end. And he takes it down to the 43-yard line and is hit by Tony Boyd. A first down for Washington State. When you talk about the great tight ends in all of college football, one that comes up at the very top of the list is Clarence Williams, right up there with Notre Dame's Irv Smith, Mississippi State's Marcus Pope, and I'll tell you one guy I like, one of the great names in all of college football out of East Carolina, Carlester Crumpler, the tight end. In fact, got a touchdown pass for East Carolina today in the closing minutes of winning. First down, Washington State at the 43-yard line of Arizona. Bledsoe again. It is almost intercepted. The pass intended for Pointer, and Keyshawn Johnson was in a position to knock it down. Pointer on that play, Russ, interesting. He played the part of a defensive back. Pointer knew it was going to be intercepted.
Well, if you can't catch it, knock it down, that's for sure. But Keyshawn Johnson and Brandon Sanders have been busy all day long, and they'll continue to be so. As you see Johnson here knocking it down, or Pointer knocking it down. Both of them going for the ball. Incomplete.
Second down and 10 from the 43. Double wide out to the top, Bobo and Pointer. There's the draw, right there. Right cut out from under him at the line of scrimmage by Sean Harris. And Richard Maddox jumped on top of him. What a story. Number 56, Richard Maddox. He's got a wife and 4 children. Hurt his foot in the first game last year against Ohio State. Redshirted. And is now back for his 5th and senior year. A wife and 4 kids. Well, he's one example of, I think, what's wrong with NCAA rules. There's a fellow that sure needs some help. Third down and 9. Nobody behind Bledsoe. Got 5 players in the pattern. Looks to the wide side and overthrows Calvin Scheck-Snyder. Scheck-Snyder wide open. Bledsoe 5 of 11 now for 46 yards. Not a typical Drew Bledsoe first quarter. The pride of Arizona. There is Steve Johnson to punt it away. Johnson trying to replace one of the very best kickers in the history of college football, Jason Hansen. Guys, over the head of Barnes. Washington State will catch it at the 2 and down it there. A 39-yard punt. Boy, what a great job. Washington State special teams downs it at the 2. Stadium, as we look at scores around the country, there is one of the big upsets. Purdue hammering Russell White and the Bears of California. Michigan and Notre Dame tie in South Bend. It was Florida. Shane Matthews all over Kentucky 35-16. Penn State over Temple by a bundle. Number 11 Nebraska, no trouble with Middle Tennessee State. number 12, Colorado, allowing a lot more points than they would like to allow. And Oklahoma, oh boy, the Sooners are back. And right now, Arizona is backed up at their own 1-yard line. Out of the eye, it is Carter and Levy. Straight ahead it goes. Juan Carter moves it out to the 3. Juan Carter a week ago, 22 carries, in which he averaged 6.5 yards every time he managed to fly through the line. He was hit there by Ray Hall, the strong side tackle.
This is a real test for the offensive line. I mean, the whole team, they've got 2 tight ends in Richard Griffith, Roderick Lewis. But for the line, they've got to move Washington State's defensive line off the ball.
Last week, the Wildcats threw out of the double tight end formation. Amalu wants to do it again. Throws to the flat and overthrows Kerry Vaughn. 2 consecutive years, Vaughn has led the Wildcats in receiving. This time, Malaulu unable to get it through him. Malaulu now is out 0 for 3.
Well, with 3rd down and 9 to go, Phil, I mean, you almost have to, down here, especially inside the 5-yard line, you've got to throw the ball. Washington State knows that. They're going to be bumping the receivers, playing them close to the vest. One thing that Arizona, on the other hand, is saying right now, we cannot make any mistakes. No mistakes down here inside the 5.
3rd down and 9. Russ, Washington State is expected to employ a zone or a man defense.
Down here, it's man-to-man.
Again out to Vaughn, and it was a catchable ball, and Terry couldn't hold it. A disgusted Terry Vaughn will walk to the sideline as Josh Miller will come in to punt it away.
You tell your receivers, when you get out there, when you've got an outbreaking time like this, you've got his hands turned inside. Maybe if you turn them the other way, you might get a couple more inches. Every inch counts.
Miller, thus far today, look at that average. Almost 48 yards. Last week in the season opener, he averaged over 42 yards. Philip Bobo back at his own 43. And again, Miller skies it. It is taken at the 47, fair caught by Torrey Hunter. Philip Bobo was not on the field. And Josh Miller, a 49-yarder. He has a 64-yarder and a 49-yarder.
Well, he did that as a knuckleball. I mean, there was no spiral to that ball at all. Miller knocking the heck out of it. He got height to it. He got plenty of hang time with it as well.
Stay with us at halftime as we present College Football Today's halftime report. Glenn Walker will bring you all the scores and highlights of today's action coming up at halftime. Washington State with the football at their own 47, 1st and 10. Bledsoe. 7-step drop. Over the middle it goes. It is incomplete. C.J. Davis had it and couldn't hold it.
A lot of Bledsoe's passes, I mean, there's certainly enough zip to them, but a lot of them have just been high. Just overthrowing his receiver just a little bit. And that's one thing you don't want as a receiver. Your back is exposed. C.J. goes up here. It goes through his hands. I know he feels like he should have got it. Wham! That's where you get nailed.
Now, certainly a catchable ball. Last week, it was Darren Pointer who had a few mental lapses, dropped 4 or 5 passes that he admittedly should have caught. 2nd down and 10. In motion, that is Bobo to the near side. Reverse. Chet Snyder to the 42-yard line of Arizona. He's got the 1st down, a gain of 12, and Tony Bowie popped him.
This one of those reverses, it's just a one-man reverse, really. You got Jim Eicher downfield blocking. When you get your offensive lineman out in front of you like that, that wears down the defensive back.
Williams, the tight end, steps up to the short side of the field in motion. Here comes Bobo Adams. 1st down, Cougars. To the 39-yard line. That is Derek Sparks. We have not expected to see Derek Sparks a lot today.
Well, they mentioned that they were going to be playing him sparingly. They have an awful lot of faith in him. He's pretty good size, 5'10", 216 pounds. He can run the ball.
And will be the final play of the first quarter, and perhaps the biggest surprise through the first 15 minutes is that we are scoreless. Arizona and Washington State deadlocked 0-0. Care about teaching and about students learning in and out of the classroom. And when you look at field position, Washington State has begun at their own 38, while the Wildcats have been pinned deep. As we begin the second quarter of play, the Cougars are on the march at the Arizona 36-yard line. It is second down and 4. 3 wide receivers to the top of the screen. Derek Clark now moves out to the left. Bledsoe throws. It is caught. Darren Pointer's got it, and he's going down immediately. Sean Johnson and Sean Harris combined to bring Pointer down.
You hear it enough times from your coaches. Get back to the quarterback. Come back to the ball. That's exactly what Pointer did there. You're running your pattern. Pointer hooks it, slides into the quarterback. Now watch him try to break to his right. He's trying to lose defender Johnson.
With that pass, Drew Bledsoe has just moved past last year's Super Bowl MVP Mark Rippon in the third place on Washington State's career passing list. Clark trying to pick his way inside the 30, and he won't get there. Jimmy Hopkins closed the hole in a hurry. Now there's that statistic I spoke of a moment ago. He moves ahead of Rippon, still behind a couple of pretty fair quarterbacks.
Yeah, a couple fair quarterbacks.
Wow. Rosenbaugh and...
He passed a lot of them last week, too, Phil. He set 4 different records and 1 Pac-10 record.
Second down and 9 from the 30-yard line. Clark, the lone tailback, 3 wide receivers to the near side. Bledsoe again. Here comes Arizona. Pass is caught. Brett Caroline, I believe, was the receiver. Indeed, he was, and he was covered immediately by Sean Jarrett. Want to talk about one great afternoon? How about a week ago today? What an afternoon for Caroline.
Catching 10 passes. He got just one hand out there, stopped the ball, had enough presence of mind to just hold it there for a second while he got his left hand there. The coach is always saying, Phil, 2 hands. Always catch with 2 hands. Brett Caroline showing that we can do it with 1.
Stuck one hand out, and the ball stuck. You wearing that Lester Hayes stuff?
Not legal. Not legal, but let's go check.
I remember one day I shook hands with Lester Hayes at a practice up in Los Angeles, and our hands stuck together. Could not get it apart. It's a first down for Washington State.
They had to pry the ball off those guys and see him lift the top both.
Arizona has been stymied. Absolutely nothing whatsoever. A team that coming in had rushed for 222 yards a week ago, has 9 total yards. Again, trip wide receivers to the right. First down, Cougars. Clark will go to the short side of the field. He'll get to the 8 and nothing more. Jimmy Hopkins, the junior defensive end, comes up to make the stop with help from Jamal Lee.
Ball coming up and supporting real quickly here. He just filled the hole, which is exactly what you're supposed to. Sparks looking for daylight, couldn't find it. With Lee right there to meet him head-to-head. That'll ring your bell.
This is the best Arizona defense since 1989, the year that the Wildcats were in the hunt for the Rose Bowl until week 10 when Southern Cal beat them. Trojans went on to win that Rose Bowl in 89. Clark's in motion for the top. Second down and 6. Bledsoe right over the middle. It is caught. Bobo's got it, spins around, and is tackled. Mike Skurlock, the sophomore strong safety from here in Tucson, brought him down. Boy, Skurlock a year ago played inside linebacker when Sean Harris went out against Ohio State.
When you talk about the pass here and the reasons why the pass has happened, Sean Harris was on the blitz. Conrad Timisker, number 77, picked him up the last second, or that may not have been a complete pass.
First down, Cougars. Clark to the 3-yard line. Caught from behind by Sean Harris and Daryl Morrison.
Sean Harris is everywhere, Phil. I mean, he's great in pass coverage. They leave him in there when they bring in the extra defensive back. He's on the blitz trying to get to the quarterback and right there supporting the run. Lead blocked by Michael Bailey, number 75. made it possible for Sparks to get yardage down there. And right here, they're shortening the field in towards the goal line, shorten it down.
2nd and goal, Washington State. The 2nd time they have been this close. Sparks again, out of the line of scrimmage. Picked up by his ankles, Rob Waldrop. Just took his ankles and aimed them at the clouds.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You've got to get penetration here. You've got to get penetration. Waldrop fighting off the block by Tobek, number 66. Goes down on all fours, has enough strength to come up and make the stop, and getting help from guess who? Sean Harris.
Now look for Brett Carillon or Clarence Williams. Both tight ends are in. It is 3rd down and goal from the 4. Bledsoe throws it away, and they may get him for intentional grounding. Oh, Richard Maddox. No flags are down. It'll be 4th and goal now from the 4.
Maddox getting in almost clean. Almost clean. You know, it's almost surprising. It looks like the tackle just about got a hold of him and grabbed him. But as long as Drew Bledsoe has a receiver in the area that the ball is going to, they cannot call that intentional grounding.
Aaron Price is on to attempt a field goal. Last week he hit 2. From 21 yards out, Aaron Price is now 3 for 3 as a Cougar field goal kicker. Clock is stopped with 11:06 to play before halftime, and the Cougars are on the scoreboard. To take the Cougars to a 3-0 lead. Aaron Price is set to boot it away. Standing at his own 9. Try to kick it to the near side. It's going out of bounds, and that'll back him up 5 yards.
I'm sure that's not what he had in mind. I mean, that was pretty much a shank. It looked like he got the tee and everything. The tee went flying downfield. Aaron not happy with himself.
Well, Arizona, of course, has the option of taking the ball out at the 35-yard line, and that's what they might just do.
Kickoff out of bounds. March to the 35-yard line.
Yep, they're not going to force him to re-kick it.
You know, under some conditions, Phil, they might take the ball back and try and run it back. But here on a warm day, if you see Aaron Price just sort of shank it, on a warm day, why make the guys run any more than they have to? They've got good field position on the 35. Good place to start.
A moment ago, the Cougars went 49 yards, and look how long they controlled the football. 21-yard field goal from Aaron Price, and that is the only score we have had thus far. Mala'ulu looking to the short side, now right over the middle. It is caught.
Well, Richard Griffith looked like he had it. Looked like he had it. In and out of his hand, almost possession. A couple of defenders there to just meet him as the ball gets. That's the tough part about being a tight end. If you're over the middle, there's everybody is converging. Your linebackers, defensive linemen turning back on you, defensive backs. That's a bad place to be. Just not being able to hang on.
Richard Griffith out last year with a knee. This is his 4th year as a starter. Now Carter across the 38 near the 40. Greg Burns, the right corner, comes up to knock him down. Burns a year ago played behind Michael Wright, who of course now with the Giants. Not one. What a week. Last week in the season opener. Look at that. Last year, 5.5 yards, 4 touchdowns. Last week, he had 3.
3 touchdowns, 146 yards. And he almost broke it on that. If he hadn't slipped, he'd have gotten a lot more yardage.
They're down in 7 from the 48. Mala'ulu. Pass intended for Terry Vaughn, and like Bledsoe, Mala'ulu also has been high with his passes. Corey Hunter, good coverage on Vaughn. Mala'ulu now. That's what we talked about in the opening of our telecast, Russ. He really is not the marquee quarterback that Dick Tame wants to have. More of a supporting type player.
Well, and they have as many good running backs as they do. Carter and Levy, Johnson and Lovett. They're emphasizing the running game, and he's supposed to support them and back them up with the passing game.
man with the football right there. Thus far, Arizona's MVP, Josh Miller, a 48-yard average. Corey Hunter calls for the fair catch, and he's got it. Let's go down on the field. And Mike Tame. Mike?
In talk with Mark Smaha, the trainer of Washington State, he's dousing the players down with these ice towels. It has a little bit of ammonia in it. It works as a stimulant. As the towels have a touch of ammonia mixed in with them, of course, for you non-chemistry students, ammonia is a transparent, pungent, volatile gas composed of hydrogen and nitrogen in a water solution. So it's very powerful stuff.
Mike Haynes, the chemist. It also makes you a lot less attractive if you're across the line, and in an Arizona uniform, it is caught. T.J. Davis has it, and he goes out of bounds. Keyshawn Johnson runs him out.
You know, I have to chuckle at that last comment by Mike Haynes. Mike and I played together with the New England Patriots before he went to the Raiders and I went to the 49ers. And he was always coming up with something really clever in the locker room. You know, at halftime, you're sitting there trying to concentrate on the game at hand. I could always come up, just sort of take your mind off all the pressure, all the seriousness. Nice job, Mike.
Washington State with 9 first downs already. Arizona with 10:06 to play in the first half, still looking for their first down. Sparks behind Eicher and Magnuson, still on his feet. At the 48-yard line of Arizona, Jamal Lee finally brought him down.
Now they're rotating the running back, though. Sparks getting a lot of duty here the last several times. Look at the line, blowing the defense back. That's exactly what they need for Sparks to have room and time to make his decisions. There's about 6 different Wildcats getting a shot at him.
Now Sparks, a sophomore from Santa Ana, California. A year ago, he was one of 5 first-year freshmen to play for Mike Price. He's got the ball again. Well, that's the way you get those back injuries. Teddy Bruce, the freshman outside linebacker, put his helmet right in the back of Derek Sparks.
You know, they keep talking about redesigning that, Brian, saying that the helmet is hard plastic, very, very firm, maybe a little soft covering on the outside, make it easier on the running back and the receivers.
I remember back in the 60s, Ohio State had about a 4-inch wide piece of foam rubber that they had taped on the top. And Woody Hayes decided at the time that, you know what, why should we be easier on opponents when they're steering us? So they took the foam off. Aimed around, near side, no. Bledsoe is going down.
I want to see that again. They had everybody, including me, trying to figure out who the heck had the football. It looked like a dive. It looked like a reverse. It looked like another fake to C.J. Davis. Bledsoe keeping the ball. Sean Harris ferreting out exactly who had it. You got guys going everywhere. Look at Bledsoe looking downfield. No room. No room at all as Teddy Bruschi and Sean Harris lower the boom.
Third down and 19. And this is where Bledsoe is so dangerous. And now we've got flags all over the place. Now Bledsoe and Philip Bobo had the snap count right. The other 9 had it wrong, or vice versa.
Well, you know, as we look at the coaches here trying to figure it out.
Offense.
A false start by the Washington State offense. That last play reminded me of flying airplanes, Phil. Bledsoe knows he's making a mistake here. The entire line doesn't move. I mean, it's got to be the quarterback. Yeah, that's what we talk about when they change their count. But on the last play when he got sacked by Sean Harris and Teddy Bruschi, I'll get back to it. It has to do with G-forces on airplanes. Gravity. Science, like Mike likes to talk about.
Bledsoe is 8 of 16, third and 24. Intercepted. Landon Sanders has got it. He's coming to the near side and still on his feet. And it took Bledsoe to bring Sanders down.
How many times have you seen a quarterback in on the tackle of his interception? Drew Bledsoe steps back. The quarterback, Butch Williams, is going across the middle. It was man-to-man coverage. Sanders steps right in front of Darren Pointer. Washington State getting a number of opportunities to tackle him. The last guy, Conrad Penitzker, trying to make the tackle. Drew Bledsoe saying, enough of that, I've got it.
Landon Sanders, he's a redshirt freshman. He's got the interception today. Last week, he picked up a fumble and ran it for a touchdown. Here it comes to the near side. It is Antoine Carter. Fired up Cougar defense.
We're not winning the house. We're going to win this one. Don't let you score. We're going to win it. Number one. Hi, Mom. Hi, everybody. What's up, man?
It'll be 2nd and 9.
Very unhappy.
Excuse me, Phil.
Very unhappy Drew Bledsoe.
Well, very happy Brandon Sanders.
Wide to the right is Terry Vaughn in the slot. Troy Dickey, the junior transfer from Houston, Texas. Arizona out of the I formation. The Cougar 34. Antoine Carter. Man, is he handled at the line. Brian Ford, the weak side tackle, was there, as was Ray Hall. There's Ford. He's a junior from Rio Lindo High School in Sacramento. A year ago, he was playing on the other side of the ball in the offensive line.
Mala'ulu here giving the ball to Carter. Everybody closing in. Ron Childs, number 31. It looked like he was on a blitz to begin with. He didn't have any contained responsibilities. I wonder if Arizona will take advantage of that. Short corner.
Looks left, now over the middle, and it's cut by Terry Vaughn. It has taken the Wildcats almost 24 minutes to complete their first pass, and what a big one it was. First down, Arizona at the 21-yard line.
You need big play players, and Terry Vaughn is one of those guys. He leaves his feet, sacrifices himself. Middle linebacker Anthony McClanahan comes here and just lays into him while he's up in the air. That's a bad place to be. But Terry Vaughn, number 9, hanging on to it.
Chuck Levy spins down to the 15-yard line. Ron Childs, who backed up Lewis Bush last year, came up to make the stop. Boy, Chuck Levy, what a tremendous talent. Starting last year, 4 games at quarterback after Mala'ulu went down. I'll tell you, when you talk about all-purpose running back for us, he is in a class with Alabama's David Palmer, O.J. McDuffie of Penn State, Kadra Ismail of Syracuse, and certainly Stanford's Glenn Milburn. Now, it is Levy moving up just on the outside of the tight end at the top of your screen. Straight ahead, Billy Black Shoes Johnson. Again, Ron Childs. He has been a busy linebacker for the Cougars.
He's playing right on the corner, Phil. He's playing right on the corner and just coming, flashing right on in. Billy Johnson, he's been hurt a little bit, too. He's one of those backs that they've been counting on, that they were counting on for the season. This is where Arizona can use their weapons. They're getting downfield to Vaughn. They're running the back to Carter. The ball to Carter and Johnson.
Washington State jump. Chad Eaton was right into the face. I believe it was Eric Johnson or the center, Mood Tumgawahi. Question is, was drawn off by Arizona's offensive line.
Good ball. Offside. Defense. First down.
Now they got Eaton. Great job by the center in snapping the ball when he saw the defensive lineman into the neutral zone.
That's what you've got to do. Voice inflection by Mala'ulu. The center being heads up when they go offside, snap the ball.
Levy again straight ahead. Childs jumps on his back again. And Levy is not 100%. When he is one of the most explosive running backs I have seen in the Pac-10. He missed the last couple of weeks prior to their opener last week because of a very badly bruised knee. But when he is on, Russ Francis, he is absolutely sensational. Second down and goal from the 7-yard line. Antoine Carter, touchdown, Arizona.
Johnson, number 69. Paul Stamer, number 70. They clear the path. They're kicking out the defenders. Kurt Lurchmer, number 19, for Carter just to come in, walked in.
The point after, Steve McLaughlin is on from the hold of Adam Grant. McLaughlin, he is perfect. Antoine Carter, he got 3 touchdowns last week. And he has made it 4 TDs in 1992. The result of a relentless pursuit of perfection. And by Great Western family of companies, $38 billion strong. Great Western will always be there.
Corey Hunter and
Now stay with us at halftime as we present college football today's halftime report coming your way in just 4 minutes. Now you heard Antoine Carter. This is all about respect, something the Wildcats didn't get a lot of last year in Pullman.
Darren Pointer, the guy who's been making so much headway in the Washington State defense, he's back along with Corey Hunter.
Jay Kirchhoff will let it go. And that'll take Pointer into the end zone. For the Wildcats of Arizona, they got on the board going 35 yards in 3 minutes and 39 seconds, and it was Antoine Carter slicing off the left side and went in untouched. And that is where we stand at even 4 minutes to play in the first half. Arizona 7, Washington State 3. You just expect Drew Bledsoe and this Washington State offense to begin to roll. Short drop, it comes to the near side, and C.J. Davis takes a pounding. Keyshawn Johnson. Boy, that's when your quarterback just really opens up his receiver to get hammered.
They didn't have much of a choice here. The pattern is a flat pattern. They're just trying to get ball control. They want to use the 4 minutes they had on the clock. C.J., the ball just not into his hands. And Keyshawn Johnson is playing all of his receivers tight. I'm not sure if Bledsoe isn't going to start going downfield on him a little bit more.
Now with the speed he has, Alvin Schneider, who had 3 catches and a pair of touchdowns last week, is now at the top of your screen on the 20-yard line. To the near side, it is right there. And he'll get 3, maybe 4. Rob Waltrip, the nose guard, with help from Johnson, knocked him down.
You know, you would expect that, Phil, with a team that runs the ball mostly, but with a team like Washington State to run the ball there. It's now 3rd down and 6 to go. They only had 4 minutes to start with. Now they're at 3.5. They need every bit of that they can to keep the ball moving downfield and score before the half to get the momentum in their favor.
3rd down and 6. Washington State featuring the trick wide out at the top. 3:15 to play. Right there, motioning to the near side. Bledsoe looks left, throws left. Wide open, Davis, he's got it. And he is knocked down at the 42-yard line. Jay Phillips, the dime back. But not before the Cougars get a big first down. They'll spot it at the 42.
One thing Davis doing there very well, too, aside from letting the secondary move out of the way for him after he spins him around, is he got his receiver, number 6, Calvin Schneider, to block for him. He spins around here. Here comes, he waits for his Calvin to come on up here, number 6. They lay a block for me, but he wasn't accounting for the fact that he was just about to get hit.
By Jay Phillips. First down at the 42-yard line. Right there, the lone setback. He's got the football. Kicks his way to the 35. Still on his feet to the 31-yard line. Charlie Camp, the middle linebacker, along with Gerald Morrison, took him down. And I'll tell you, if coaches were unhappy last week because it took right there too long to get to the hole, they can revel in how long it took him to get to the hole there as he exploded through it. There's a timeout on the field. It comes with 2:46 to play in the first half. Arizona 7, Washington State 3. Arizona out in front of Washington State 7-3. Now, other scores around the nation will be coming your way in just 2:46 as we get you to Glenn Walker for College Football Today's halftime report. First down, Cougars. Bledsoe, play action. Over the top it goes. Davis tries to come back forward and can't get to it. John Johnson. Russ Francis, how many Wildcats are wearing number 8? Johnson be all over the field.
Well, you see him coming up to support against the run. You see him taking that 5-yard flat pattern away from Pointer just a little while ago, and now he's about 40 yards downfield, knocking out another play, knocking down the ball. He almost had it intercepted. He goes up the same time as Davis does, almost comes down. You see him clapping his hands. He's unhappy with himself.
Now the senior out of Fresno, California, has had a stellar first half. Right there in motion to the top. 2nd and 10. Bledsoe going to air it out. Throws. Flag is down. Pass intended for his tight end, Butch Williams. Flag down on the near side is Bledsoe now in the first half. 9 of 21. 104 yards and 2 interceptions.
Well, as we wait for the call here, or as the call comes, it looks like it might be holding. Mike Sherlock and Tony Bowie were just reading the quarterback, and they were heading over towards Williams.
Against Arizona. Now you be the
Davis
judge.
coming down here, and it looks like Sanders may have pulled his jersey, may have gotten a hold of it. That is where the holding is being called.
Now the most serious consequence of that Arizona penalty is that it gives Washington State a huge first down with 2:35 to play. That's something you don't want to give a quarterback with the talent and skills of a Drew Bledsoe. To the near side is Pointer. Wide to the left, Clarence Williams. Play again, right there. We'll move it to the 18. Rob Waldrop, the nose guard, comes up to knock him down. Rob Waldrop last year lost in Game 5 for the I think, quite frankly, he may be the Wildcats' best defensive lineman. And that's a guy that Mike Price would like to steer away from.
So he's not only big at 6'2", 74, but he's mobile.
Incredibly strong. Davis and Pointer come wide right here at the bottom on 2nd and 8. Bledsoe set for the second time. Ty Parton and Richard Harris lead the charge.
That is a quarterback nightmare. You see everybody coming right up the middle. It's one thing when they're coming from the outside, but look at Ty Parton just breaking through the seam. Maddox putting pressure on the outside. Parton coming in right up the middle. Bledsoe did not have a chance. Mike Sherlock coming from the outside on the weak side of the field.
Now it is 3rd and 18 on the 29-yard line. 3 wide receivers to the near side. Bledsoe, and flags are down. It's going to go against Washington State.
It almost looked for a second like Maddox was going to be outside, but red ball, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down. But he was reading the movement of the player from Washington, and we don't have his number yet to move prior to the ball being snapped.
Now it is 3rd and 23 as the Cougars are going the wrong way. Ball pushed back to the 34-yard line, and now whistles sound.
Arizona, number 2.
Arizona wants to call their second timeout here in the first half. Now, Arizona's defense has played exceptionally well. We talked earlier, Russ, that Dick Tome believes it might be his best defense since their 1989 team, and there's a big reason for that. They've got 7 guys back who missed last year because of injury.
Well, they've got a lot of healthy guys, and they're doing the things that Washington State's adjustments and the formations, the shifting and the motion defensive coordinator Larry McGuff was talking to us and saying, we think we've got a pretty good handle on that, on their movement, and the secondary coach, Johnny Lynn, saying the same thing. We're going to play him hard. We're going to play him man-to-man.
Johnny Lynn, the former New York Jet. Well, the Pac-10 Game of the Week returns to Prime Network on September, they said, October 3rd. We're not sure exactly where we'll be one of those 4 places. So check your local listings for announcements of teams and time. That's Saturday, October 3rd, the Pac-10 Game of the Week right here on Prime Network.
You're talking about Johnny Lynn. I used to play against him a lot. He was a tough man-to-man guy as it was. I'm sure he's instilled that in his players as we look at the points on the last 5 meetings. Pretty darn even. Over 30 points. Wildcats with a slight lead.
Yeah, and because of that, we told you at the outset of our telecast, we expected the scoreboard operator to be as fatigued as the players, and it hasn't turned out that way.
Well, I've got a reason for that, and I'm going to save it till halftime.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I've got a reason, and I've got it all figured out, and I'll share it with all of you at halftime.
Yeah, I'm still anxious to hear from Mike Haynes again as the chemical makeup of ammonia.
Yeah, well, I'd like to know the chemical makeup of that field because that's one of the nicest playing surfaces I have ever seen. I had a chance to walk on it before the game. Just ideal.
Former first fairway at Tucson National Country Club when they tore it up a few years ago. University of Arizona said, hey, don't throw that sod away. We want it. Bledsoe looking near side for a hit from behind and load, and it's incomplete. He is struck by Teddy Bruschi, the freshman out of Roseville, California.
Well, you nailed it right on the head, Bill. Bruschi, 68, coming right off the corner. Conrad Timiskern, number 77. 284. He just could not handle Bruschi here as he nails. There's no chance at all for Bledsoe to get that off. Mike Sherlock coming in and adding insult to injury.
Here's Aaron Price to try a 51-yarder. Jason Hansen, this would have been a chip shot. Price, has he got enough? He got it. He got it. And you heard that collective sigh here at Arizona Stadium. I don't know how or where Mike Price comes up with them, but year in and year out, he finds field goal kickers who can nail it from 50 yards out.
Well, last week his father was saying, Coach Price, that they had been in a tough situation. A route wasn't run right. He was really upset. And his son Aaron went out and kicked a 44-yard field goal. Now under pressure just before the half, coming back and showing a lot of poise, kicking at 51 yards.
Now the man he replaced, Jason Hansen, 50-yarders, as I said a moment ago, were chip shots. I remember 2 years ago when Hansen set an NCAA record when he connected from 62 yards out with no tee. Forget about the tee.
Well, that's appropriate as you say chip shot there. You mentioned this was his former first fairway. What do you think, huh?
I like it. I like it. 105 to play. And now we've got a one-point team. Arizona favored by 3. And Price will kick it away. Chuck Levy standing at his own 12-yard line. Levy circling to his right. He's got it at the 8. Up across the 22 and knocked down there. It was Kyle Foy, a backup linebacker, number 54 from Washington State on the tackle. So Arizona has 61 seconds to try and go 77 yards. They have a one-point lead. It is 7-6. Mala'ulu, it has not been a great first half, to put it mildly. Ball at the 23-yard line. Arizona out of the eye. Mala'ulu looking near side. It is caught by Griffith, the tight end. And he is wide open to the 49-yard line of Washington State.
That's what what happens when there's a breakdown in coverage, and that's exactly what we had. Griffiths coming across the field, Mala'ulu rolling to his left. Nobody there. Zone on top, zone underneath, but nobody covering that, what they call the hook area on the left side, as Griffith takes it downfield for a great game.
Mala'ulu looking right, nothing in throws. It is caught by Vaughn, this time at the 46. And Corey Hunter not only makes the tackle, but decided he needed an extra helmet to boot.
Well, Arizona better hurry up as the clock goes down below 26 seconds. He better get his helmet back on and get going or call a timeout.
Caught again. Levy loses the football. Mala'ulu can't get it. It goes out of bounds. Arizona will retain possession, and that will stop the clock.
Real close there. I don't know that's a good idea to try and pick the ball up when it's on the ground, and Mala'ulu may have just fallen on it. They probably would have had to call timeout, though, or kick it out of bounds. Levy has it. He tries to get upfield with the ball, but Johnson just stripped it from him. They were lucky with that. It could have easily been a turnover to Washington State. Each team still right here trying to fight for momentum before the half.
So with 11 seconds to play, pretty good bet that Arizona will simply choose to kill the final 11 seconds. They have a 1-point lead. Mala'ulu. Looking deep. He has got it. Troy Dickey. And out of bounds he goes with 6 seconds to play. Troy Dickey is that wide receiver that Dick Tame has been looking for. 6'3", 221 pounds, a big kid who Ruff just loves to go over the middle, catch the ball, fight for it, fight, scratch it, and get out of bounds. Your kind of player.
That's right, exactly. I'm fired up just watching. What a great corner pattern he ran there. We'll get a chance maybe to look at it as we get ready for the field goal.
From 38 yards out, McLaughlin, who was 0 for 1 last week, 3 for 6 last year from the hold of Adam Grand. Good snap, good set, got plenty of distance, and he's perfect. McLaughlin has got it.
Boy, he put his foot into that one. Great protection at the line. Was able to really nail that ball, though he had it with plenty of height. This is what you want, the momentum with 2 seconds left in your favor, and that's what Arizona has.
Great spot on the part of Adam Grant on a perfect snap. And McLaughlin, with his head down, whistled it through from 38 yards out. It comes with 2 seconds to play, but quite frankly, Russ, the guy that got Arizona on the board there was Troy Dickey, the backup wideout.
Great pattern, got out of bounds, left a few seconds left on the clock. Great presence of mind, is not trying to run the ball upfield, getting out of bounds, stopping the clock. Giving McLaughlin a chance to be the hero.
So Arizona will kick it away with 2 seconds to play. Don't forget, stay tuned at halftime. There have been some upsets in college football today. I don't think thus far any bigger than the one that took place in West Lafayette, Indiana this afternoon, where the Bears of California not only beaten, they were run out of Indiana.
Well, they sure were, and that sure hurt them in the conference race. I'm thinking that they're going to kick the ball on the ground, not give Washington State a chance with 2 seconds left to even get anything out of this. Won't let them run it back.
Kirchhoff approaches the ball. Well, he'll give him a shot at it. That's Darren Pointer over his head and out of bounds. So the Cougars will have 1 chance to air it out, and here comes Bledsoe.
I guess he figured his leg was strong enough to have to worry about that. He knocked it just about all the way through the end zone. So why bother trying to squib it?
Now you go back to Bledsoe's freshman year. He threw for 385 yards and a pair of touchdowns against Arizona. Last year, he threw for over 265 yards and 3 touchdowns against these Wildcats. So Mike Price is confident that if he can get the ball into Bledsoe's hands, that he can turn the trick. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs for the Wildcats. Bledsoe loses the football. It's recovered by Arizona. And again, it was Teddy Bruschi, second time in the first half, that he has knocked Bledsoe down, and that is the way the first half will end, with Bledsoe on his backside. Halftime score, Arizona 10, Washington State 6. Right now, let's take you to Glenn Walker for College Football Today's halftime report. All the action. You are up to date now on all of college football today here at Arizona Stadium. It's the Wildcats 10, Washington State 6. Bill Stone along with Russ Francis. Well, the story of this first half is almost a throwback to a year ago at Pullman, Russ, when at halftime it was 9-7 Cougars. Today it is 10-6 Arizona. And you just had the feeling after we set up this big high-scoring game at the outset of our telecast, you had a feeling we were going to get stuck with a defensive show.
Well, I told you I'd have the answer for you at halftime, and I have it for you. What's happening here, folks, is it's hot outside. And I think both coaches have been waiting. They keep talking about all the offensive formations they have. Washington State, the tight end in the backfield, motion, that type of thing. Arizona's got so much offense that they haven't shown yet. I think they're waiting for the second half when it's cooled down.
Well, before we show you the first half highlights, let's take you down to the playing field and Mike Tame. Mike?
Thanks, Bill. Coach, pretty good first half. Your defense has been really playing tough. You must feel pretty good about them so far. Well, the defense has played really well, and I'm proud of the offense because, as you know, things don't work all the time, and they hung in there and had patience, and then at the end they got things going. And so we just got to come back out and reestablish that in the second half because, as you know, you really just play the first half to see if you can win in the second half. And how do you feel about the first half then? Well, I feel good about the first half, but, you know, we'll see right now because the game's going to be decided in the next 2 quarters. Okay, Coach, well, you think the weather's going to, the advantage you've been waiting for in the second half here? I don't think so. You know, the sun's down, and they've been in the shade for a quarter anyway. We've been standing in the sun, so I don't think it'll matter. Okay, well, thanks for taking time out, and good luck in the second half. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right, Mike, we are set to go in just a few minutes here with the second half of action from Arizona Stadium. Well, in the first half, it was a case of mistakes on the part of Bledsoe. Washington State on their first possession moving in for a score, and Daryl Morrison picked Bledsoe off. And then later in the first half, it was a redshirt freshman who did the trick.
Well, Brandon Sanders comes up with the interception here, and last week against Utah, picked up a fumble in for the touchdown.
From 43 yards out last week. Again thwarting a Washington State drive. And then in the second quarter, with the score 3-0 Washington State, Antoine Carter through the left side.
And a big hole, Phil. I mean, the offensive line just opened it up. Antoine, they keep saying that he's a little bit slow getting through the line, getting through the hole, but he blew through there that time.
And then Mike and Joyce Price's little boy, Aaron Price, 51 yards away. Jason Hansen, who? That ball through fingers and just creased over the crossbar. That made it 7-6 Arizona. And then Steve McLaughlin nailed one from 38 yards out to make it 10-6 Wildcats, and that is where we stand. But you would never know from the first half statistics that the Wildcats are out in front. Look at first down.
Well, that's why everybody says statistics are so deceiving. You can have all of these numbers, and then go ahead and look at the scoreboard. It's 10-6 Arizona. I think, as I said it earlier, Phil, we're going to see a little bit more offense from both sides. It's cooled down dramatically here. The sun's behind the clouds. The field is covered in shade. Here comes the offense.
The Cougars with 18 more first-half plays than the Wildcats, but the big numbers are the numbers of turnovers. And just look at Bledsoe. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, 9 of 21, 104 yards. That is a huge surprise. The fact that Mala'ulu's numbers are not particularly impressive is no story at all.
Well, exactly, Phil. And Bledsoe, I mean, although his numbers are low, we talked at the top of the show about the defense that Arizona has, and they have been playing and defending the pass brilliantly.
Now for Drew Bledsoe, here's a guy that's coming into this game at Washington State as a career 54% passer. Only 4 times in his career has he been held under 45%, and that's what he's looking at right now, unless his numbers improve dramatically through the first half. He's looking at about 42.5%. So those are very uncharacteristic of a man who one day hopes to win a Heisman Trophy. Next weekend on Prime Saturday, 18th newcomer Florida State will take care of them NC State Wolfpack at noon, or Texas Tech takes on the Ducks of Oregon at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Check local listings for the game in your area.
No Dutch.
Well, I had a chance to see North Carolina State against Iowa in the kickoff classic a couple of weeks ago, and Dick Sheridan is off to a fast start at NC State. And I'll tell you what, for a team that was ranked as the 4th or 5th in the ACC, look out for the Wolfpack. We're ready to go. Arizona will kick it away, and Jay Kirchhoff, the 6'5 senior, is ready to put his foot into the elongated spheroid. End over end. It is Pointer, 8 yards deep, and he'll go down on a knee. So for the Cougars, they'll begin the second half at their own 20-yard line. Washington State in the first half, not nearly the offensive production we thought we would see. It began with an interception and a couple of punts. They got 2 field goals in the first half, and a fumble ended their offensive set. And you remember a week ago on our Pac-10 Game of the Week, Arizona State came out, took the ball at the 20-yard line to begin the second half, and Mario Bates went 80 yards to a Husky defense to score. Gombe right there is the lone setback. Bledsoe will put it into the gun of right there, and he's across the 32. Hit and dropped by the free safety, Tony Wood.
The guy's been making plays all day. Ty Parton, the play went right by him, right there. He just missed right there going to the middle of the line. But that's exactly what the running back has to do. Just get past the defensive line, then you're out in the open field.
5 defensive backs now for Arizona. Brandon Sanders, the nickelback, is checked in. Clock. Philip Bobo. He was hit by Brandon Sanders, bounced off of him, held onto the football, and took it out of bounds.
That's scrapping for the football and scrapping for yardage. As we look at Bobo picking up the ball, he continues upfield because he does not give up. Sanders here hit him twice. That's enough. He says, I'm taking it out of bounds.
For Philip Bobo, his 3rd catch of the ball game. Philip Bobo, a junior out of Moreno Valley, California, has now caught a ball in 23 of the 24 games in which he has played. That is right there out across the 42. He is dropped by Charlie Camp, the sophomore middle linebacker from Avondale, Louisiana. I'll tell you, here's a guy that plays a lot bigger than 5'11". Kind of reminds you a little bit of a Sam Mills, Pro Bowler with the New Orleans Saints.
Exactly. They have two linebackers like that. They've got Sean Garrett, number 88, who's about 6'3", 220, 225 pounds. But they're both lightning quick, and they get the football.
But you look at Camp, he's only 5'11". 10-6 Arizona. 3rd down and a long one for the Cougars. Right there. He's got the first down across the 47. Tackled by Sean Garrett. Boy, there is a terrific linebacker, a junior redshirt from Pasadena High School. Came on in October of last year, redshirted himself. He would have a full year in 1992.
Well, you know, it's not so much the height as the weight when these guys are delivering the blows. These guys are light, but they deliver them like guys, as you said, they're much heavier.
First down, Cougars. The out pattern, it is caught by Bobo. His 4th catch. Brandon Sanders, who has an interception today, a fumble recovery for a touchdown last week, almost stole the ball out of Sanders' shopping bag.
Well, Sanders tried to strip the ball, and then Johnson came over and made the tackle look like he was wrestling with him to try and get the ball out, but it looks like Bobo already had his knee down. You see Sanders trying to strip the ball right here, and almost as successful. And here comes Johnson, says, this is mine, give it to me. But Bobo was already down. The play had stopped, but we have a flag on the field.
Holding. Offense, 10-yard penalty, receive first down.
For Washington State, that is their 4th penalty. Make it 5 now. Coming wide to the right, it is Pointer in the slot, Bobo. Now C.J. Davis, the flanker, moves to the left side, or the short side of the field. The lone set back is right there. The give goes to Fair. terrific job on the part of Richard Maddox, who lined up at the left outside linebacker spot. He turned fair in. And Chambay did not get much. That is right there, 13th carry of the game.
And our guy, Sean Harris, number 49, also coming in to help finish things off. Everybody getting a hand in there. Ty Parton reaching in. Harris.
Now, last year in Pullman, it was 9-7 Cougars at halftime. Bledsoe under pressure, has to throw it away. Great pressure on the part of Sean Harris, the sophomore linebacker from right here in Tucson.
You saw Darrell Morris in 27. He's putting pressure in too, but this is a problem you have when you don't have any back or just one back in the backfield. Somebody's got to stay there and block for blitzing linebackers like Sean Harris.
Bledsoe brings the Cougar offense to the line. Pointer, Bobo, Davis, all split to the bottom of the screen. That's C.J. Davis in motion back to the top. Draw play, right there, and it is Ty Parton who sniffs it out. Parton a year ago separated both shoulders. He is finally healthy and back for his 4th year starting on Dick Tomey's defensive line.
They really like this guy, Phil Parton, 99. He's 6'6", 275 pounds. Looks like he might even be a little bit heavier. He plays havoc not only on the pass rush, but you saw there on the draw, supporting against the run.
Here is Steve Johnston, the 6-foot junior, from the snap of Quinn Magnuson. Low snap. Johnson off the side of his foot. He shanks it, and it goes out of bounds at the 48-yard line. A 15-yard punt with 11:29 to play. The Wildcats with excellent field position. A week ago, the Wildcats held Utah State to without a touchdown, and they're doing it today. The Cougars with a pair of Aaron Price field goals. Other than that, they have shut the door, and now it is the Arizona offense that will try and mount an attack.
When you're looking at Drew Bledsoe, so you and I are talking during commercial there, what happens in the offense? He's doing the same thing. Where's the out pattern? Where's the post? Where's the open man?
Arizona from the eye. First man through. Lamont Lovett, the fullback, the 6'4 junior from Franklin High School in L.A. Rambles for 2 before Dwayne Patterson takes him down. Now Arizona in the first half, first 5 times they touched the ball, it was 3 and out. They finally got the touchdown from Antoine Carter on their 6th possession, and then kicked a field goal in the final minute to take a 10-6 lead, and that is where we stand. 11 minutes to play in quarter number 3. Cougars showing blitz. Malabulu sees it. Here they come. Hey, boy, they're not going anywhere. Antoine Carter. Ron Childs pinching from his weak side linebacker spot, and rushed everybody here at Arizona Stadium to see that one coming.
Child's been playing close to corners all day long, and he comes off the bottom of your screen here untouched. Well, he's one of many guys that were untouched. Actually, basically, Dwayne Patterson was in there as well. We had talked earlier about the defensive backs coming up out of the backfield and supporting, and that's what Washington State is beginning to do.
Carter so far, what a tough afternoon. 10 carries for 12 yards. The left-hander, Mala'ulu, looks right, throws right. It is stopped. Does Terry Taylor have it? No. The officials say no. This partisan crowd wants a pass interference call on Torrey Hunter, and they're not going to get it.
Hunter appears as he gets there just at the perfect instant. He's coming down and sweeping. Although his left hand on the back of Taylor might have been suspect.
Josh Miller is on. To punt it away, it will be his 6th punt. He's averaging 46 yards of punt today. And he booms another one. Torrey Hunter at the 12. And the officials say he called for a fair catch. He can't go anywhere. A 42-yard punt, there'll be no return. Or did he go down on a knee to receive receive it. I'm not sure what the actual call was, but the officials blew the whistle right away. There's no flag down.
You got to make up your mind because, as we saw there, he's going to get leveled. Everybody coming down converging on the receiver.
So here come the Cougars with 9:58 to play in the third. Arizona 10, Washington State nothing. For the Cougars, this is their second possession of the second half. Bledsoe, quick out pattern. A drop ball by Darren Pointer. He did it 4 or 5 times last week. If there's any rap on Pointer, forget the fact that he's got tremendous skills, Red Francis. It's that he has mental lapses where he just kind of takes leave of the game.
I don't know if that's the case. I'm going to have to stick up for him on that one. He had some great receptions in the first half. That ball being thrown a little bit low, I mean, right down towards the roots on the grass there. It's tough to hang on to those passes, let alone Tucson Johnson there to say hello.
9:53 to play, third quarter, second and 10. Late fair, the lone setback. Bledsoe, for the second time in the game, pulled away from the center a bit too soon. And when you've got a senior center in Robbie Novak and a junior quarterback in Drew Bledsoe, you wonder, how can that happen?
Well, it looks like there's a little indecision along the entire line. We're going to get the call here.
No play. Dead ball. False start. Offense.
Chuck Barron, the referee, is telling us that Washington State, this is their second or third false start at the snap. Now, is it the quarterback? Is it the center? Was there an audible changing the snap count? Drew starting to pull away just a little bit early.
We saw that call 4 times in succession a week ago at Arizona State. A game in which the Sun Devils were penalized 18 times against Washington. Now from the 8-yard line. Draw right there. And it jukes his way out across the 12. Jimmy Hopkins, the junior defensive end, comes up to knock him down with help from Rob Waldrop. Difference a week makes. That man right there a week ago completed his first 6 passes against Montana. Was 13 of 16 in the first quarter alone for almost 140 yards. With over 400 yards of passing. Today a much different story, and Drew doesn't like something. Came to the line, saw Arizona's defensive team, and called a timeout. It comes with 9 minutes and 12 seconds to play, and the third quarter with Arizona out in front of Washington State 10-6. They're nowhere in sight with 9:12 to play, 10-6 Arizona. Next weekend, lots of tennis on Prime. It's the Champions Challenge, the women's tournament coming your way next Friday and Saturday, and then the DuPont All-American Exhibition featuring Michael Chang and Malavai Washington. And that comes your way next Saturday, right here on Prime Network. 9:12 left in quarter number 3. Arizona 10, the Cougars of Washington State 6. Third and 12. Bledsoe is going down. He fumbles the ball, and who's got it? Washington State recovered. But oh, did Bledsoe take a shot from Mike Sherlock. It is recovered by Arizona. Michael Bailey, the quick tackle fell on it.
What a gutsy call by the defense. 3 receivers wide to his side. He blitzed from about 15 yards back.
Well, now they're not calling it a fumble recovery. Punt it away. It is E. Johnson. Short punt. Vaughn gets the big bounce. He's got it at the 40. Spins. He's down at the 38. Arizona, which forced 6 turnovers last week, has gotten 3 thus far today.
As Bledsoe goes back into the pocket, he does not see from his left side Mike Sherlock just blitzing in. And as I said, he started out, I was watching that side of the defensive backfield. He started from about 15 yards out, just full speed ahead. nobody touched him. Nobody was back there to pick him up. Fumble recovery was by Haisham El Maktoub.
First down. Wildcats at the 39-yard line of Washington State. First and 10. Malolo throws. It is caught. No. Intended for Troy Hickey. Greg Burns was right in his hip pocket. We've got a flag down back at the 39. Immediately thrown into the vicinity of offensive holding. Vince Saldivar, Washington State's strong side end, says it is indeed against Arizona, and it's holding Wildcats.
That really hurts, Phil. You know, you get your momentum going. You get a good play, a big play like that. Sherlock coming in on the blitz. Holding, knocking him out of position.
10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
This is where a leader like Mala'ulu can just say, hey, guys, we have to keep the drive going. We're in great field position at the 50. Let's keep it going. First down and 20.
From the 49. Arizona in the I formation. The deep back is Anquan Carter. He's got the football. Straight ahead he goes. And I mean straight ahead as he crashed in over Mike Jaska and the center Mu Tongawahi running head on into Seymour Mobley and John Rush. Now a couple of scores for you. Washington over Wisconsin at Husky 27-10 Purdue. There's the Shockers demolishing Russell White in California. And Stanford an easy time at home over Oregon. It was Oregon State victorious over Fresno State 46-36. Here with 7:50 to play in the third quarter. Arizona 10, Washington State 6. Mala'ulu, he's got Terry Vaughn, and out of bounds he goes. He'll be short of the first down. He needs to get the ball to the 29. It'll be 3rd and 3. Tremendous block by Wayne Fraley. I mean tremendous. Fraley listed as the number 3 fullback on the Wildcat depth chart. Fraley wearing number 31, and that is what sprung Terry Vaughn.
Well, Kurt Lurcher, number 19, was coming in on the blitz. They picked it up beautifully. Arizona doing a great job at the line, great job with their back, picking up the blitzes, communicating at the line.
Carter, good hole on the left side, and he'll be very close to the first down, tipped up by Mark Fields. Fields, a junior college transfer from Cerritos, California. Very highly recruited a couple of years ago, but Rusty spent an extra semester in junior college, so he's just got here this summer.
But if it wasn't for Fields and number 10, John rushing, it would have been a lot more yard gain. Official timeout.
They're going to call for the measurement. So the team game will make the check from the far side. The clock is stopped with 7:38 to play. As Dick Tome, what a tremendous job. 6th year here at Arizona. Prior to Tome getting here, the Wildcats were 0-7 in their previous 3 years against the powerhouses of the Pac-10. Under Tome, Arizona against Washington, UCLA, and Southern Cal is 6-6. We asked the question at the top of our telecast, can Arizona get up there, the rarefied air of Pac-10's elite? Dick Tome thinks so.
Well, the way they're playing here today, Phil, it looks like he's on the way, and they are rotating players. Carter out, Levy in. They're changing the running backs and the receivers.
Arizona with a first down at the Washington State 29. Levy's the setback. Play action, Mala'ulu. He throws, and out of bounds it goes. Mala'ulu, I think, expecting Vaughn to run a down and out pattern. Vaughn did an up and out.
And Mala'ulu paying for it is number 99, Vince Saldivar, the left end. He comes in, meets him right in the ribs, right up in the face and chest. You don't forget that as a quarterback. You don't forget that at any time. I mean, if you're a receiver, thinking about next time he rolls out, he could have just ducked underneath his block. Mike Kingsburg had him sent out to the outside. He got to step up inside that block.
I remember a game when you had 3 ribs go bye-bye.
Yeah, I remember that too. Let's forget it.
7:21 to play. And the third, Mala'ulu looks right. Now comes back to the left side, looking for Charlie Dickey. Touchdown, Arizona! However, they are for excessive jubilation. The touchdown stands.
Great protection by the Arizona line. Mala'ulu looking to his right, sweeping to his left, getting nailed by Ron Childs on the left side. Great poise, and what a beautiful pass to Dickey.
Troy Dickey, right over his shoulder.
He just flat beat Burns into the end zone, and you can't blame him for getting a little excited.
Now Troy Dickey, the son of Elridge Dickey. You remember Elridge?
I sure do. Used to play for the Houston Oilers. And his son, he can be proud of him today. He's had a couple of big catches today.
Good ball after the score. Non-contact foul by the offense. Washington State elects to take the ball on the kickoff.
Dave McLaughlin is on to attach the point after. Adam Grant is on a knee to hold. So Arizona gets on the board at the 7-16 point of quarter number 3, and it is 16-6 Wildcats.
You know, people don't put a lot of importance in extra points like this, Phil, but when you're playing a team like Washington State that can score at any time, at any place on the field, this is critical.
Good snap, great placement, and McLaughlin has been perfect today. George Mala'ulu, a much maligned George Mala'ulu, 2 years ago in a battle every single practice with Ronnie Veal to determine who was going to quarterback the Wildcats. And then last year, with Veal gone, it was given to Mala'ulu, and then he took a shot, missed the last 4 games. So coming into camp this year, here in the spring and summer of '92, Mala'ulu felt he indeed was the incumbent again.
Well, we said that he was played a supporting role in this offense, and he's just doing his job, just the perfection there. He runs the offense in the running game, but has the poise to stand in there with all that pressure, getting the ball downfield for the touchdown, putting him out 17-6.
Now, a week ago, Mike Price's Cougars ran up 525 yards, 425 through the air.
Good ball. Non-contact foul.
Now, as we told you a moment ago, Mala'ulu, boy, did he pay the price when he went down there, first by Childs, and then by number 99, Vince Saldivar. Boy.
And just prior to that, it rolled out to the right, been nailed by Childs on the rollout, and by Vince Saldivar again.
Troy Dickey has given Arizona a 17-6 lead. The 15-yard penalty against Arizona for excessive jubilation is walked off, so they'll kick it from their own 20-yard line, which not too many years ago should be a good return here for the Cougars. At the 17. Pointer across the 30. Tripped up there by Jay Phillips, the backup cornerback. Now Arizona, they only needed to go 39 yards. It took them less than a minute and a half to get there. Just 29 yards over the shoulder grab on a perfect spiral from Mala'ulu.
You know, talking about Mala'ulu again, you can't say enough about him. His hobbies being the beat, dancing, and hats. He's wearing a new hat tonight, Phil, and that is team leader, a guy that can do everything.
7 of 15, 110 yards and a touchdown. Unless Harold Drew Bledsoe is not having a great afternoon thus far. Jumbe right there, hit at the line of scrimmage by Brent Boyer, junior college transfer from Hooper, Utah. You know what the name of his junior college was in Hooper, Utah? No, community college.
Really?
Would you expect any answer?
Not from him.
Second down and a long 7. Bledsoe comes to the near side. Pass was intended for Philip Bobo, I think. Bledsoe absolutely nothing on that pass. This is what I was just mentioning a moment ago. Last week, Bledsoe with 425 yards through the air today, passing against a stingy Wildcat defense, only 109 yards with a pair of interceptions. one took a sure touchdown off the board. It was on the Cougars' first drive, down inside the Wildcat 50-yard line. 3rd and 7. Home point. Throws. Dave makes that T.J. Davis cottage and was hit right in the back by Daryl Morrison, who has one of the Bledsoe interceptions today. There's the flanker, T.J. Davis, a senior from Curtis High School. We mentioned in the first half, Curtis High School, Bob Lucy's team, spent 6 players who are currently on this Cougar roster.
You know, the receiver's always trying to keep in mind where the sideline is. Davis is trying to keep his feet in bounds, and Morrison nailing him looked like he was clearly out of bounds.
Davis in motion coming at you. Right there. He is in the Wildcat territory, out of bounds at the 45. Sean Harris kicks him out.
You know, they're running the ball a lot more than we thought they would. I think that's maybe a product of society. They're having trouble getting their passing game going. Right there, 18 here for 86. Bledsoe's got to get his confidence back, though. He hasn't had time in the backfield to get the ball off. His line's been doing a pretty good job, but Arizona coming in with the blitz really rattled him.
Double wide out to the bottom on 2nd and 2. Bledsoe, he has got Pointer. And Pointer finds Keyshawn Johnson, who was such a force in the first half. We were asking at halftime, Russ Francis, where is this highly touted Washington State Cougar offense? I don't think it's so much a case of where is the offense as much as it is what a tremendous Wildcat defense we have seen.
So exactly, Pointer here getting the ball and just trying to get as many yards as he can upfield. But one thing for sure, Phil, Washington State can score from anywhere on the field. They could get a lot more cutting here real soon.
3 wide out now to the top. Quick release, Philip Bobo has got it, and Charlie Camp has got Bobo.
Nothing a defense, speaking about excitement, nothing a defense finds more exciting than just to stop a high-powered offense like Washington State. They are fired up on the other side of the line.
Going to wonder why aren't the Cougars trying to stretch this Wildcat defense vertically? Get down the field. Second down and 10. Someday right there and going nowhere. Teddy Beluski. He's a freshman, a high school freshman. Out of Roseville, California. He's sacked Bledsoe twice in the first half. And he gets another shot for a loss here.
Well, not only did he make the tackle, he fought off 2 blockers, tight end Dustin Smith and the big guy, Conrad Perminster, number 77, who outweighs him by about 30 pounds. Took on 2 guys, spun to his right, made the stop. Great effort.
Bledsoe looking to the wide side. He's going to take it up and 7. Oh, does he have room? To the 17-yard line. By Burton, the defensive tackle, and Daryl Morris on the right corner brought him down. A first down for Bledsoe and his Cougars.
A team leader, you can always count on him to do something, make something happen. He can't look to his right, can't find anybody, doesn't go back to his left, knows he's running out of time, takes the ball, touches it, and gets it upfield. That's a winner, and that's a leader.
Number 17, Washington State, a big possession here. They're down by 11. Jack Snyder and T.J. Davis flank to the right. Right there. And guess who's right there? It is Sean Garrett. We've got a flag that takes from down near the goal line. Where the back judge, Kirk Dornan, really tossed the flag down around the 2-yard line.
He must have been a picture in a previous lifetime.
Daryl Morrison is the player down for the University of Arizona out at the 14-yard line. You can't say enough about this Arizona defense today. A defense that has limited this potent Washington State offense.
Offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Well, it looks as the trainers attend to Morrison here like maybe there's a cramp. There's a little ammonia being put in his face. Maybe Mike Haynes can give us a chemical breakdown once again on that. But the left calf appears to be cramping up, which was a product of the heat earlier, or maybe he got sick on the way down.
Now Morrison will indeed be back. Other scores around college football today. 17-17 in South Bend, the Irish and the Wolves. Matthews, a big day for the Gators. Alabama, there's a surprise by a touchdown over Southern Mississippi. And Syracuse routing Texas by 10 in the Carrier Dome. Here, it is 17-6 Arizona with 4:05 to play on the third. Bledsoe again looking for the out pattern. Looking downfield, pointed, touchdown, Cougars.
Well, we said they can score from anywhere on the field, and that's exactly what happened. Corner getting downfield, getting a lot of air, getting up for that football with Johnson, number 8, right behind him, trying to trail him downfield. And Bledsoe getting pressure, but having the time to get the ball to Pointer, who goes up for it and down. That's how that pass worked. Give credit to the offensive line on that play.
That's the 5th career touchdown for Darren Pointer as the Washington State split in. His first touchdown here in 1992. Aaron Price gets the point after. And we are back now to a 4-point game with 3:59 to play in the third. Darren Pointer has brought his Cougars back in this game. Third quarter from Arizona Stadium in Tucson, where the Wildcats are trying to go 2-0, but Drew Bledsoe wants something to say about it as he lofts this one up in the air over Keyshawn Johnson and into the arms of Darren Pointer, and that is where we stand. 17-13, the Wildcats. And for Arizona's defense, that's the first touchdown it has allowed this year.
One thing they did differently, too, Washington State on pass protection for Bledsoe, was they kept in the back right there, kept him in the block. They need that additional half there with the blitzing and shifting Arizona's been doing.
In the first half, Washington State lost their strong side guard, Bob Garman, to that pesky neck injury, and we just learned that a man who lines up beside Garman, Jim Eicher, the senior strong side tackle out of Spokane, is out with spasms in his lower back. He may return. Levy at the 2-yard line. Westwood at the 10, dropped at the 11. Now 63 yards, 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Darren Pointer kept a 9-play series with that over-the-shoulder catch from 28 yards out. Arizona, as we began the day, was favored by 3, and at the present time, it's the Wildcats by 4.
As you mentioned, Darren Pointer's aunts, the Pointer sisters, they will be singing his praises if they can continue to do what they've been doing.
There comes Arizona out of the eye. Look at the double stack at the top of your screen. 2 tight ends on one side. And in motion comes one, Lamar Harris. The pitch will come to the wide side. It's Anquan Carter, and the Cougars are going to shut it down. We've got flags all over the field. Almost certain to be offensive holding. Dwayne Patterson playing through.
Well, there's a phrase that was coined as we're coming up to get the call on the penalty by John McKay when he was at USC. Student body left. And that's exactly what Arizona had there. Everybody pulling to the left. Now, who was holding? Coach Tomey's got to be concerned still. Back down here inside the 20. That is one of the last things you want, is any kind of a penalty to put you back even further.
Offense, half the distance to the goal, repeat first down.
Now it'll be 1st and 17 from the 5-yard line. Now, Russ, if you're Washington State, is there gamble here defensively?
Absolutely. Put as much pressure. They'll be slanting, blitzing.
Carter for Boy, he was grabbed at the line of scrimmage.
So they came in with a blitz. McClanahan, number 41, came right up the middle, and he just about had it at the line of scrimmage.
Ray Hall, the strong side defensive tackle, was the first man who got his mitts on him, but couldn't hold him. McClanahan finished him off. McClanahan last week, pardon me, Russ, had 8 tackles against Montana.
He covered so much ground. He was back, as you see him over the middle there. He's back off the ball. He can get there in a hurry.
Second down and 14. Carter, left side, short side of the field, and there's not much running room. And guess who? McClanahan once more.
The left side of the line is Paul Tame, number 70. Eric Johnson doing a great job getting off the ball, off on the snap, and pushing them downfield. That's what they need, so just keep it going, keep the clock running. They've got a little bit of a lead. They've got to keep chewing up that ground, keeping field possession, taking possession of the dirt, they call it.
Owning the dirt.
Owning the dirt.
Third down and 10. The ball is at the 12-yard line. Mala'ulu. Throwing, it is caught by Levy. What touch by Mala'ulu. He laid that ball right over Ron Child's fingertips, and it was Mosley who finally took Levy down.
Now, you want to talk about a guy that's got some touch of the football under pressure. George Mala'ulu and Chuck Levy just waltzing down the sideline about Mach 1, taking the hit just as he catches the ball. That is a lot of poise.
A big first down for Arizona. For one, it denies the Cougars what would have been certain tremendous field position. Carter out at the 36. Well, you see this Arizona running attack beginning to gain momentum. The legs are getting spinning quicker than they did at the games out there. Childs and rushing combined on the tackle. And you look thus far in this ball game, Washington State still with about a 90-yard advantage. But it is Arizona who has thrown for 131 while only rushing for 46, in direct contrast to what we said would happen at the start of the game.
I know it.
Second down and a long 7. The ball is at the 36. Near side. And Washington State defenses it beautifully. Kurt Lurcher, the senior strong side linebacker out of Montesano, Washington State at home.
Well, he read that perfectly, too. Lurcher coming up to make the tackle on Levy. He was not fooled at all. I'm surprised, well, it's easy for us to stay standing up there, but
Washington State sideline warning.
Washington State, there's something you hardly ever see. The officials there, the side judge, has collectively asked Washington State to please move back from the sideline. So they have been issued a sideline warning.
Well, that's what that big white stripe is there. There's room only. The only people that can go in there are the coaches. Number 44 here. Get out of there. Coaches only. They don't want anybody getting hurt.
Well, the timer at 10 seconds. 51 seconds on the clock. Add 10 seconds.
So the timer had the 51 minutes. Well, now we're going to get it right. Now the attendance today in a game that started with the temperature at a 100-degree level, the century mark, 39,112. Now what better place to catch some rays?
Yeah, they catch a few rays. I mean, the sun has gone down for the most part in the stadium. And it's a beautiful night as we look over the hill. The colors from that picture are beautiful, aren't they, Phil?
Absolutely. It's one of the most beautiful sunsets in the world. They're right
So bad on the field.
Third down and 6. The ball at the 37-yard line with 35 seconds left. Mala'ulu under pressure. Up for grabs down the near sideline. The pass intended for Troy Dickey, who caught the touchdown pass here in the third quarter. And Mala'ulu overthrew him. Running step for step with him was Greg Burns. He kind of nudged Dickey out of bounds. Dickey was trying to come back inbound.
He did a heck of a job of staying on his feet. He went out of bounds, kind of stumbled a little bit, and then accelerated when he got back onto the field.
Here is Josh Miller to punt it away. And back to receive Philip Bobo. Miller has had a tremendous afternoon punting. He comes to the near side. Oh, does it take a bounce? And down at the 2-yard line.
There's a heads-up play right there, Mike Sherlock. He thought the ball was going out of bounds as did everybody else, but he was at the right place at the right time. When that ball started to make a race for the end zone, he was right there to down it. Josh Miller, great hang time on that punt. Look, the ball almost goes out of bounds. Here comes Sherlock out of the right corner of your screen, says, this is mine, downs it at about the 3.
I know players are very superstitious. Whatever Josh Miller did this morning, I duplicate it every Saturday morning. That is his second punt today that has carried 62 yards. Up the gut it goes, and there's not much. As that Wildcat defensive charge led by Rob Waldrop shuts them down.
This is the time, Phil, with 7 seconds left in the third quarter. Washington State has got to get a grip on themselves and say, as we enter into the fourth quarter, gentlemen, this quarter is ours.
3 down and 1 up. Arizona 17, Washington State 13. In the third quarter, both Arizona and Washington State scored. Bledsoe thus far 14 of 29, 154 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Mala'ulu is 8 of 17 with 1 touchdown. And we are set to go the final 15 minutes. Washington State from their own 3-yard line. It is second down and 8. C.J. Davis is incomplete. Boy, you could almost make a case for Davis pass interference by Jay Phillips. When Phillips came to the ballpark today, I don't think he had Davis on his back.
Well, Davis doing what a good receiver is supposed to do. He didn't have position on the ball, knock it down so Phillips can't get to it. Phillips here turning it to right. He almost overran the pass, Phil. He almost overran it, and had the ball been a little bit short, Davis might have been able to pick it off, but Davis elected to break it up. There's a timeout called by the Cougars.
Second time Drew Bledsoe has called a timeout here, and that will reduce Washington State to a single timeout with still 14:55 to play in the ball game. 17, Washington State 13. The Cougars have the football 3rd and 8 at their own 4. 3 wide receivers to the bottom. Bledsoe wants his tight end. He's got Brett Carolan. Carolan, who had a career last Saturday in Pullman. 10 catches alone. He's got vice grips for hands. Let's go down to Mike Haynes. Michael?
Hey, Phil, you know, you're talking about the fourth quarter we talked about early in the game where the heat may be a factor. It's starting to happen right now. Guys are starting to cramp up. The starting right corner, Morrison, is out on the sideline stretching. And if you watch real closely, watch number 22, Skurlock. He's starting to cramp a little bit also.
That's a good point, Mike. Second time in the game we've seen Skurlock, the strong safety, cramp up. First down, Cougars. That is Chambe right fair as he dives out across the 17-yard line. Charlie Camp, the middle linebacker, stops it. Boy, I mentioned in the third quarter, Russ, that Camp plays so much bigger than 5'11", 219.
He certainly does, along with number 88, Sean Jarrett. Although he's larger, taller, doesn't weigh that much, 220, 225. They play like they're a lot bigger, and they're quick. And when they get there, they spin.
Bledsoe, 6'5", 227. Second down and 7. Right fair, the setback. 3 wide receivers are split out to the left. Play action. Bledsoe throws, and oh, look at this one. Clarence Williams, the tight end, has got it. The blow all going to the wide side of the field, and Bledsoe was almost crushed by Jamal Lee and Tony Bowie.
Bledsoe very, very fortunate here to get that pass off. I mean, I didn't think there was any way he was going to get that. Jay Phillips came in on the blitz, number 29, right here. Along with our friend Teddy Brewski, who's been there all night long.
Still another first down for Washington State as Bledsoe is beginning to light it up. He's got tripped receivers to the left. Bledsoe looks right, comes back left. It is caught by Pointer. Darren Pointer, that is his 6th reception for 68 yards. Brandon Sanders, who has had a big game for the 2nd week in a row on the tackle.
That's a pass they ran earlier in the game, something they've been successful with. An audible was made at the line by Bledsoe. Only 2 seconds left on the 25-second clock. He just barely got that pass off.
Pointer wide to the right in the slot. It is Philip Bobo. 13:35 to play. We got a 4-point game. Right there, big hole right side. And he takes it into Wildcat country at the 49, and Sean Harris up on the tackle. Well, last time these two teams met, Russ, it was a year ago in Pullman. It was a 9-7 battle at halftime, and we are seeing much the same sort of transition that we saw a year ago when both teams began to step up the offensive action in the second half. Right there is the lone setback behind Bledsoe. Wide to the left, Pointer and Bobo. C.J. Davis down the sideline, and Bledsoe overthrows him. Great step-for-step coverage by Keyshawn Johnson, who was burned in the 3rd quarter by Pointer.
You know, the cornerbacks aren't that big, and a lot of people consider them to be a little bit arrogant from time to time. I've met a couple of them. But I'll tell you what, they have to be. They're out there all alone. And against a guy like Bledsoe, that can be very painful and embarrassing.
Russ, what is the primary responsibility of the corner?
He's got to cover the fastest guy on the field, who's the flanker or the split end. He's got to be quick, being able to run and keep up with him in a back pedal.
Arizona, number 1.
Now, Arizona now will call a timeout. So we mentioned earlier that the Cougars had taken a pair of timeouts in the one in the 3rd and one early on here in the 4th quarter. And now Arizona has called a timeout. So obviously fatigue, as Mike Haynes spoke of a moment ago, is beginning to set in. 12:51 to play in the ball game. Arizona 17, Washington State 13. Helena Mountains here in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. With 12:51 to play in the game, it's the Wildcats 17, the Cougars of Washington State 13. Bledsoe to the line on 3rd down and 5. For Calvin Schecksnyder, who a week ago caught a pair of touchdown passes from that man right there. Daryl Morrison, who has an interception today, was step for step with Calvin. So now on 4th and 5. The Cougars are going to have to unload the ball, and here comes Steve Johnston.
This is where it's so important for the quarterback to just keep his poise. Things didn't work out there. He had 413 yards passing last week. He's come back. He's way shy of that. There's plenty of time left on the clock. Get possession again. Get them in bad field possession. Come back and work the offense that we know.
Wildcat showing 10-man rush, and they blocked it. They blocked it. Chuck Levy has fallen on the football, and the Wildcats have it at the 16.
Quarterback Heath Gray, number 14, makes the block. Arizona throwing everything they have into it. Johnson here takes the snap, just gets ready to kick it. Here comes Gray. He got past the blocker. Now Chuck Levy tries to pick it up, slaps it. Now he realizes, let's just keep possession, as Johnson tries to get back and rip the ball out of his arms.
That is the 8th block, punt, or kick by Arizona in the last 2 years. Straight ahead, Antoine Carter and Wolf. Ron Childs grabbed him from the back. Anthony McClanahan is the first guy who wrapped his arms around him.
You know, Coach Tome said earlier this week that their teams had problems last year with the turnovers, the takeaways, giveaways, and this is what it's all about. Last week, they had 7, and this week, they keep turning them over. This is what our man, Heath Gray, quarterback, going into the block to punt. When was the last time you saw that?
I saw Heath Bray a year ago against Southern California on a fake field goal. Pick the ball up and run it in for a touchdown. Antoine Carter slashes to the 12. Singor Mobley and Ron Childs combine on the tackle. Last year, Mobley played behind Anthony Pryor, who was taken in the NFL draft this past year by the New York Giants. Now we've got a stoppage of the clock on 3rd down and 4, the ball at the 12-yard line. Now that's the first time in 2 years that Washington State has allowed a block punt. Larry Brown of TCU blocked the Jason Hansen punt at Amon Carter Stadium in Fort Worth 2 years ago. 3rd and 4, the ball at the 12-yard line. Arizona on the move. Carter. Great job by the Cougar defense. Singor Mobley, the strong safety, came flying to the line of scrimmage to knock him down.
Well, that's what you have to do in this case. Washington State stringing Carter out to the sideline. No place to go. All the holes were filled. Mobley coming in to make the stop. This is what Washington State has got to do with 11 minutes left in the game. They'll get the ball back, stop this score. They cannot afford a score by Arizona right here.
Steve McLaughlin is on. He's got a field goal and a pair of extra points today from the hold of Adam Grant. This would be from 28 yards out. A 4-point lead is now a 7-point advantage for the Wildcats. It comes with 10:46 left in the ball game. Arizona trying to go 2-0 after the season-opening victory over Utah State a week ago. Likewise, Washington State opened the 1992 campaign in Pullman against Montana and won convincingly.
Well, everybody contributing here. Kickers, special teams have played great for both teams, so.
The Pac-10 Game of the Week returns to Prime Network on Saturday, October 3rd, and that is the rundown, the possibility where we could be. Seattle, we could be right back here in Arizona, Eugene, or in Berkeley, where the Beavers and the Golden Bears will get it on. We invite you to check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Again, we will come your way once again on October 3rd. An in-shape Wildcat.
As they turn the lights on here at the stadium, Arizona now trying to turn the lights out for Washington State.
Jay Kirchhoff, who handles the kickoffs for Arizona, has come on. He is calling the alignment now for the special team, the kickoff team for Arizona. And back deep to receive for the Cougars, Philip Bobo and Darren Pointer. Boy, you remember back in the early 60s, Cougar fans remember Ken Graham had a career kickoff return average of over 26 yards per return.
Well, these guys that are back here, Bobo is certainly capable of doing that as well.
Likewise, Darren Pointer. So we are set. Arizona 20, the Cougars 13 with 10:46 to play. Kirchhoff lets it go end over end. And now that is Torrey Hunter as the ball goes out of bounds at the 13. So now the situation is, does Mike Price want the sure thing at the 35, or does he want what's behind door number 3, which would force Arizona to kick it again?
Well, do you think that they're kicking it out of bounds on purpose? That they don't want Bobo to kick the ball?
Kickoff
I think they've done it a couple
out of
times.
bounds. Washington State elects to take the ball at the 35-yard line.
Good choice. So there's Bledsoe's numbers today, 17 of 35, less than 200 yards. He had a touchdown in quarter number 3. He had 2 first-half interceptions. Brandon Sanders got 1. Daryl Morrison, the senior corner from Phoenix, picked off the other. Thus far on the year, Bledsoe now has pitched 6 interceptions. Now it's a high-risk offense. Russ Francis, you touched on it at the outset of our telecast. To the near side, it is caught. Philip Bobo has it, and Brandon Sanders chases him out of bounds. Brandon Sanders, playing that strong safety position, went to the same high school in San Diego that produced Chuck Cecil, now with the Packers, Alan Durden, and Jeff Hammerschmidt. All went to Helix High School. Great hit by Sanders. You know who else came out of Helix High School, Russ?
No.
And Bill Walton.
Short guy.
The short guy. Straight ahead, it is Derek Sparks. Into the waiting arms of Richard Maddox. No question, 2 years ago, Maddox was Arizona's finest defensive player. Went out in that first game last year against Ohio State. A senior out of Ridge Springs, South Carolina. Remember his first game in an Arizona uniform against Illinois back in 1990? Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Week. Look at that. Total plays Washington State with 31 more. It's caught up in the air. Goes Scheck-Snyder. For Scheck-Snyder, his first catch of the ball game, and Jay Phillips, the dime back, drops him. Tony Bowie is down at the 34, slow getting up, and now he's on his feet.
Bowie getting there at the time on the tackle. Looks like he tried to knock the ball loose. Excuse me. With Skurlock coming in to make the tackle, but it looked like he's just trying to knock the ball loose instead of making the tackle.
Skurlock is back in the ball game, but fatigue beginning to play a part here in this fourth quarter. 2013 Arizona. Washington State is on the move. Bledsoe looking left, throws. The out pattern is out of bounds. C.J. Davis, the intended receiver. There is Keyshawn Johnson. Looks like he might have taken a shot there to the ribs.
Either that or just maybe a back spasm, Phil, which could be created by a number of things, being stressed or lack of water as well, if it's a spasm caused by the cramping.
Second down in 10. The ball is at the Arizona 30. Derek Sparks is the lone setback behind Bledsoe. And now flags are flying. Were they drawn off or did they jump on their own? With so many Wildcats jumping, you have to believe that Bledsoe, varying the intensity and the snap count, I think he pulled the Wildcats off.
Dead ball, offside, defense, 5-yard penalty.
You can hear him yell just about up here. You can see him and then wondering whether he's bobbing his head at all and drawing those guys off. That's illegal on behalf of the quarterback, but I think it was just the volume of his voice that drew off the defensive line.
You look at these offenses today. Washington State with 24 first downs, only 13 points. Look at Arizona, 7 first downs, and they lead this ball game. That's Sparks. At the 20-yard line, he is picked up and dropped by Sean Harris. That'll be enough for the first down. The determination, the focus of a Drew Bledsoe. I remember a game last year, Russ, against Washington. Against that airtight Husky defense, his best performance of the year, 3 touchdowns. So Drew Bledsoe has been in these situations so many times, and there's no quit in this 6'5 junior. First and 10 at the 19. Bledsoe looking over the top, and it is caught. Touchdown, Cougars! Philip Bobo picked it off.
Touchdown pass from Drew Bledsoe.
Great throw, great poise, and great pattern by Bobo here. Daryl Morrison, 27, just about got across the field to break this up right here. Elected to try and push Bobo away from the ball. Bledsoe finally gets what's coming to him. He's been working hard, frustrated all game long. Finally puts it together. What a throw.
A point after by Price. He whistles it through. Aaron Price has been perfect last week and again today. We're deadlocked with 8:54 to play. as Philip Bobo, his 13th career touchdown in a Cougar uniform. Bledsoe now 20 of 39 for 240 yards, a pair of touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So after a very, very uncharacteristic first half, Bledsoe has finally come alive.
Well, he's a guy, as you said earlier, Phil, that's been there before. He shows a lot of poise, just standing in the pocket. He waited for Bobo. He started on an out pattern, then he broke it up the sideline. That takes a long time. The offensive line has to be credited with giving him that time. Bobo going up for the ball where Morrison tried to push him away from it, gathered it in, held on to it. Great play.
You know, Philip Bobo entered the season 8th on the Cougars' all-time receiving list, in a tie with Dan Dornick. 105 catches. He had 7 last week, and Bobo has 6 more today, and he can thank Drew Bledsoe. 13 receptions thus far in 2 ball games.
That's why they call it teamwork, Phil. These guys have worked long and hard together. They've been frustrated for the first part of this game, the first half. Now they're starting to put things together, and we'll see whether Arizona, the defense, can stop it.
So Price is going to let it fly. Hand over hand, Levy backpedaling. He's got it a yard deep, and Chuck's going to bring it out. He is upended. And again, it was Mark Fields who pushed Levy's own interference right into Chuck's wheels and brought him down. Let's go down now to the sidelines and Mike Haynes. Mike?
Phil, the guys are starting to cramp. Keyshawn Johnson, the other starting corner, number 8, he's having spasms in his back. Bowie, another defensive back, he's starting to have spasms in his calf. So the fourth quarter, you know, the pass throwing the ball has been a big factor for Washington State getting back in this ball game, and doesn't look good right now for the Wildcats.
1st and 10, the ball at the 13-yard line. Arizona's got it. There's the out pattern. It is caught by Chris Corral, the junior wide out. No! The officials say he was out of bounds.
The fans thinking that maybe his momentum carried him, that he would have been in bounds, or he might have been pushed out of bounds. Also an interesting note here, too, Phil. The guys that are cramping up are the Arizona players. Everybody thought that the Washington State coming down here not used to the heat would be the team that cramped up. Here comes Corral. Is he in? Is he out? His foot looked like it touched in bounds. Now, the question is, did his knee touch the ground prior to his foot? That's microseconds.
Straight ahead. Antoine Carter. There's nothing there. Brent McClanahan and Ron Childs grabbed him by the jersey and turned him around.
You know, it's easy to say you're up here and things happen so fast, but what a play for Arizona to be called back on that pass to Corral. Antoine just meeting everybody and his brother coming up the middle.
8:17 to play. The clock is turning. 20-20. Arizona and Washington State. Corral is split wide to the right on 3rd down and 11. And that's going to go against Arizona. Since Dick Tome came aboard 6 years ago to control this Arizona ball club, you know, Russ, there is only one team in the Pac-10 that has a winning record against Arizona. It's the Golden Bears of California. And that is amazing. In 6 years, Tome is 6-6 against the Huskies, the Bruins, and the Trojans of Southern California.
Well, when he was over in Hawaii, Phil, which is my home state, he did some amazing things over there. Started the program, brought him into Division I football, and started really with very little. He's quite a coach.
8:03 left in the game. 3rd and a bundle. 3rd and 16. Malaulu. Sideline pass. It is caught. It is caught by Troy Dickey. I talked about him in the 3rd quarter. The junior college transfer from Houston, Texas. He's the guy that the Wildcats, quite frankly, have been looking for. What size?
Watch this. He steps to the post, and he just breaks to the corner. What a nice move. And Malaulu just taking the time, the patience to let that ball just drift into him.
Russ, he is a wide receiver playing in a tight end's body.
And he's fast. He just turned Robert Turner all the way around. I mean, just turned him inside out. Nice move.
6'3", 221 pounds. Mala'ulu, first down to the 31. Out to the 36 now. Dwayne Patterson drops Chuck Levy. Haven't seen a shuffle pass thus far this season.
But if it weren't for the fact that guys were suffering a little bit from the cramps, you'd think that they'd be running a little bit more here, like that shuffle pass, because with 7 minutes left in the game, they need to go down and score, but they need to eat the clock up while they're doing it.
Wide to the left is Terry Vaughn. He is at the top of your screen. Second down and 5, straight ahead on Juan Carter. Boy, he had a great game last week. Childs and Ray Hall combined to bring him down. Averaged 6.5 yards a carry against Utah State. So far today, 20 carries for 40 yards. 2 yards a carry.
Very uncharacteristic.
6:25, clock is running. 10 seconds now on the play clock out of the I formation. The up back is Wayne Fraley, the third string fullback. That's Carter. Fraley's out in front. Carter turns the corner, and into the chain gang he goes. Torrey Hunter flung him out of bounds. Hunter, another one of those players out of Curtis High School in Tacoma.
They keep sending him, sending more, just send more. You know, that's where, I mean, I hate to see anybody get hurt, but that's where some of the best wrecks during a game happen, right there on the sidelines. A guy like Carter going out of there at Mach 1, takes out a couple camera guys, takes out the guy holds the chain. You can see some beautiful wrecks on the sideline. That could be, you know, that would be in contention for wreck of the game. We're going to name it later on, the wreck of the game. Who had the best wreck?
Josh Miller, oh, does he sky it. Torrey Hunter calling for the fair catch at the 28-yard line, and that is where the Cougars will begin. 6:03 left in the ball game. We're tied at 20. Arizona in the third quarter had an 11-point lead, and now we are deadlocked as we race to the wire with 6:03 remaining.
It'd be interesting to see here, Phil, if Washington State and Bledsoe go back to the passing game that brought them to score their last possession, mixing up a little bit of the run, but going farther downfield than they have in the first half.
In the first half, Bledsoe was 9 of 21 with 2 interceptions. He has come alive in the second half. Derek Sparks is grabbed by the ankles, and Teddy Bruschi led the charge. I like Bruschi a whole bunch out of Roseville, California. He got to Bledsoe twice in the first half.
Well, for a guy that big, it's he's 6'1", 255, but he sure moves quick, and he comes off the ground to make that tackle. Coming down the line, and he gets a little excited. These guys like to see a guy, especially in the fourth quarter, fired up like that. That helps the whole defense.
Second and 10. Over the middle, the pass intended for Brett Caroline, and great coverage by Skurlock.
Skurlock doing two things there. He's faking the blitz, trying to give a misread to the quarterback, Bledsoe. Then he picks up the tight end coming across the middle and strips the ball from him. Great job of doing two things at once.
Skurlock has done a lot of things right in his career with Arizona. Last year he started at strong safety, and then when Sean Harris went out, he moved up and played inside linebacker at 5'11", 198 pounds.
He's a tough kid. He's playing cheerleader right now. He's got these fans going crazy.
Third and 10, Cougars from the shotgun. Bledsoe. He wants Davis, and he bounces it into C.J.'s hands.
And guess who is sitting in the backfield with Bledsoe? Number 22, Mike Skurlock. He's the guy that rushed that pass. He's the guy that made Bledsoe throw the ball before he was ready to throw it. Out on the left here. Here it comes out of nowhere. Skurlock to Bledsoe. Johnson, and it looks like Davis pushing off of Johnson there, just could not get back to the ball. Give credit to Skurlock, though, for putting pressure on the quarterback.
A one-hopper to C.J. Davis. Say, that looked like a ground ball to Dodgers shortstop Jose Offerman.
To Arizona,
So it's 4th and 10. Johnston is on the field to punt it away. And back to receive, it's Terry Vaughn, all Pac-10 return specialist a year ago. You know, I remember Vaughn last year in the game at Pullman. He caught a touchdown pass and then left the game and had to be told that he blew out his anterior cruciate ligament. Out for the season.
You think you'd know?
But he didn't know. He didn't know it. This time, Johnston skies it. Vaughn has got it at the 20. And will go down at the 26. The junior from Oceanside with a 6-yard return following Johnston's 52-yard punt. P.J. Folkers, a backup linebacker, was in on the tackle. So Arizona will begin at their own 26-yard line with 5 minutes and 8 seconds to play. Now, this fourth quarter, Russ, has for the most part been played in the center of the field. You see Mala'ulu, a 50% passer for 159 yards, and the touchdown to Troy Dickey. And what a touchdown toss it was. 29 yards out. And at the time, it gave Arizona an 11-point lead. We're tied at 20. Mala'ulu looking to the short side. It is punt. Caught by Antoine Carter. First time today we have seen Carter on the receiving end. That's Jamal Lee holding court for the Wildcat defense. And there's the bailiff. Brewski, what a job. Second down and 5. There's the draw. Straight ahead it goes. Billy Johnson, the junior backup fullback, runs right into the arms of Ron Childs. He'll be stopped about a yard short of a first down.
The last 2 plays, Carter has been up by the line, ready to pick up a blitz. In the case of the pass, he ran out. He checked first for the linebacker, blitzing linebacker. Nobody blitzing. He went out and flat. Right there, he picked up the blitz on the draw.
Now that's telling it like it is. Third down and a yard. 3:55 remaining. Caught in the backfield, and the Cougars have held. Antoine Carter cut down, and Ron Childs led the charge.
Well, we heard about the defensive backs coming up and making plays at the line of scrimmage. John Rushing, number 10. Ron Childs, number 31, right here. Now here comes Rushing to help out, making sure there's no way they get back to the line of scrimmage.
Now here's Ray Guy. Or so it seems.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, what a game for Ron Childs today. Josh Miller is on. 8 punts he's averaged. Look at that. 45 yards. He's got a pair of 64-yarders. And he has moved another one. Troy Hunter brings it in at the 21-yard line. Josh Miller is my pick for MVP. A 44-yard punt.
Well, he's my pick for a guy that I'm going to call the czar of the game. SAR, search and rescue. Let's rescue this game for the guys. He's kept Washington State back out of field, good field position. They've had to go the full length of the field. I've got another pick I'm going to make. It's called the sad defensive player.
The sad
defensive player of the game. It's search and destroy. Now, we'll pick him out later on here as we go.
I'll tell you one thing. Teddy Brewski's got to be in the running for that one. First down, Cougars at the 21. In motion, Bobo. Pass intended for Bobo, and the flag is thrown. It'll be thrown against Skurlock. We're going to want to see that one again. I'm not so certain. Skurlock, like Bobo, just got confused as to where the ball was, and both of them turned, and Bobo ran into Skurlock.
Pass interference, defense, at the spot of the foul, automatic.
That's a first down from the spot of the foul, which will be out at the 26-yard line.
No doubt the momentum carried him through, but number 22 also a candidate for the SAD award. And people, when they, you say SAD, you say bad, and bad doesn't mean bad, it means he's tough, he's bad. SAD is the same thing. And Skurlock is in contention for the SAD award of the game.
What was that?
SAD, Search and Destroy. I'll help you out with it as you go.
3:01 left in the game. The Cougars with two wide receivers to the right. That is Shambe Right Fair. Shambe means heart of a lion, and he has exemplified that today. A week ago, 30 carries against Montana for 111 yards. Tonight in this heat, 23 carries for 96 yards.
Bill, do you keep expecting, like I do, with 2 minutes and 36 seconds left on the clock, that they've got to start throwing the ball?
Yep, I have looked all night long for Washington State to throw the ball downfield, not occasionally, but with regularity. Again, there's the out pattern. It is caught by Davis, and out of bounds he goes. Keyshawn Johnson whipped him.
Well, the spasm in the back appears to have cleared up because this hit is full extension. This is the type of thing that no receiver likes to see happen. But what Davis did there was he did get out of bounds. He did stop the clock. They have another play before they go to 2 minutes.
First down, Washington State. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left. That's Right Fair to the near side. He turns the corner and out of bounds at the 49-yard line. As he tried to tightrope the near sideline, Landon Sanders took him out. Another first down for the Cougars. And while they do not have Jason Hansen any longer, they do have Aaron Price, and he has been perfect in his 2 games as a Cougar kicker.
Good call by Coach Price. Coach Price? Excuse me, Coach. All the defensive backs are back expecting pass. Michael Bailey put out number 75 to lead the block. Lots of room to run.
First down, Cougars at the 49. Bledsoe chased. The pass is complete. Bobo on his feet to the 36-yard line. Tony Bowie covers him. We mentioned in the third quarter, Bledsoe has been in this situation so many times.
The great quarterbacks do not get rattled under these circumstances. Joe Montana, Mark Rippon, these guys all have patience. Kenny Stabler was one of the best with the 2 minutes. And Bledsoe, as you said, has been here before. Arizona's going to have to toughen it up.
That is Right Fair. Puts his helmet down and moves the ball to the 32, and he runs into Jim Hoffman there.
Coach Mike Price doing a good job of blending the run with the pass here. He's trying to get close enough. All they need is a field goal. You don't want to count on that. You'd like to score, but with 1:30 left, you've got to take what you can get. He's trying to set up the field position.
Washington State with 1 timeout. Arizona has 2. The clock is running. We're at 1:22. We're tied at 20. In motion, Davis, the flanker. Right Fair moves it to the 28. Ty Parton takes him down.
Another thing that comes to mind, too, Phil, as Price here, Coach's son gets ready to kick the ball, if they get within field goal range. Arizona's done such a great job last week and this game of turnovers. Can they knock the ball loose? Can they force something to happen and get the ball back?
Well, I think they are within the range of Aaron Price right now. We saw him boot a 51-yarder earlier today. Third down and 4. Right Fair is down. He'll be stopped way short of the first down, and Rob Waldrop took him down. Steady Brewski was also there, the freshman. And here comes Aaron Price.
Well, Arizona's called a timeout. They have 1 left. Washington State has 1 left. This gives Aaron Price time to think about it.
Now Price is connected from 21 and 51 yards today. Russ, I mentioned at the outset of our telecast, the last time Washington State won in this stadium, you've got to go back 11 years. Coming back for the climax in a moment. 35 seconds left. Washington State 20, Arizona 20. And Aaron Price is on to attempt a 47-yard field goal. Well, you will certainly never erase the memory of Jason Hansen. But here. It's down. Price lets it sail. And it's good. Price has connected. Aaron Price, 5 of 5 in 2 games as a Cougar.
Well, Price showing the same poise that his father has. I mean, that is not easy. Offensive and defensive players alike are always kidding the kickers. I mean, come on, you guys only get in there every once in a while. But that's critical. And talk about pressure. Aaron just lines it right up. Doesn't give anything else a thought. Arizona called the timeout to give him time to sort of knocks it right through. Great kick.
And I talked, it was 11 years ago, the last time the Cougars won here at Arizona Stadium. It was the year after Samoa had left. Guess who was a freshman on that Cougar team?
Mark Rippett.
You're absolutely right. They also had Tim Harris, Pat Beach at tight end. And look at Price.
Here. His father celebrating, Aaron celebrating. They have fought a long, hard game here against a great Arizona team.
Well, the drought may be over. 31 seconds left. The Cougars 23, Arizona 20.
Well, 31 seconds left. You expect them to kick the ball deep and make Arizona work for every yard they can get.
What a hero Price has been, and he's going to boot it away. Levy and Lamar Lovett are back deep. Levy will have a return. He's got it at the 4. Cougars, great job on their special teams. Down quickly was Kyle Foy, a backup linebacker, to bring Levy down. So Arizona, 84 yards away, and only 28 seconds to get there.
Well, I said I was going to name my sad player. It becomes sad players of the game. That's Mike Scurlock, Search and Destroy, and Teddy Bruschi. You got to get that in. Scurlock has played a fantastic game all day long. Now it's the offense's turn.
Looking for Corral, and it's intercepted. Corralled by Singor Mobley, and we've got a flag. Hold everything. Mobley has picked it off.
I think what we're going to see is Greg Burns delivers a hit after Mobley picks it off into the back of the receiver. I don't think it's going to be called anything more than after the interception was made. Washington State will still come up with the football.
10 yards.
Here you see Mobley intercepts the ball. Corral gets hit in the back here by Burns. That's where the penalty failed. Washington retains possession.
Now for Arizona. Next up, Corvallis, Oregon. The Beavers of Oregon State next weekend.
I want to take this time, Phil, if I can, to our camera guys have done a heck of a job on some of these shots. Sure makes it a whole lot easier for us up here. And Jerry Romano and Doug down the truck, thank you guys a whole lot for your instructions. This has been one heck of a football game.
And the pictures, as you suggest, Russ, have been extraordinary under less than ideal conditions. Temperatures over 100 degrees on the field. Everybody has had to gut it out with the telecast team and the players, the coaches on the field, and we appreciate your efforts. 21 seconds to play. Washington State 23, Arizona 20. Now the Cougars are going to head home. They've got a bye next week, and then they'll prepare to take on Fresno State before coming back home and meeting Temple.
Number 3 and their last.
You realize the Cougars could be 5-0 when they meet UCLA in Pullman.
Well, this is a team that Coach Mike Price has said is going up, and they certainly showed that tonight. Arizona putting up a fantastic battle. What a great game. But Mike Price and the Cougars catching shots. Their offense is not where he'd like it to be, Phil, but they're doing just enough to win, and that's what they've had to do.
The play of the game is brought to you by Diet Pepsi. And what else could it be? 3 opportunities tonight. Aaron Price connects on all 3, including the one just a moment ago that gave his Cougars the go-ahead score. 23-20. Washington State over the Wildcats of Arizona. And the whole Price family has contributed to this one.
Well, Mike Price can be proud of his son, certainly, as the water bucket sneaks up on him from behind. But he can be proud also of every player on that Washington State team.
You know, you feel for coaches in Buffalo and New England in November when the players do this. Tonight, Mike Price is going to love it. Now, this one went on to the defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer's back. And rightfully so. This ball game is over. The Cougars of Washington State win it 23-20 over the Wildcats of Arizona. We'll come back with some final thoughts from the Sonoran Desert in a moment. I'm Phil Stone saying good.